Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Ring Post Radio. I am your host, Ryan Knightsey. We have a jam-packed show for you all today. Lots to talk about from, I think, literally every corner of the wrestling globe. We'll see. There's actually one corner of the globe that does have a show we could preview, but I don't even think we have the time for it. That's how much stuff we got to talk about. Like I said, I'm Ryan Knightsey. Thank you for joining us. With me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing on this fine Saturday afternoon?
I have been clapping since the CMLL main event. So I want to know that I've been walking the streets clapping. I've been going to people's houses clapping because I am in such a great mood. And it helps probably that we have about a million topics today. But after last night's show, I'm on cloud 9, and we have the biggest week of wrestling of the year coming up. So strap up, strap in, and do anything else that gets you prepared because I'm ready.
Well,
I also had internet problems before this, so I'm a little rattled as well. But it's okay. We're here. I'm here.
Yeah, if you joined us live or are joining us live for the live video, sorry for a little late. Scotty's internet went out literally as we were about to start. I think we're like a minute away from starting, and the internet went out. But hey, we're still here. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one as well. That's a good picture. Mexico CMLL action. Lots to talk about, like we said at the top. So strap in, and I think let us begin. Let's start off talking about WrestleMania. No, well, hold on, real quickly before we talk about WrestleMania, we got to talk about the biggest match announcement this side of the hemisphere. Scotty just announced on X.com at Squared Circle Expo. Get into it. March 30th, 2024. 8 p.m. in the Wyndham Indianapolis West building in Indiana.
I don't like this bit because I don't know where this is going.
Nick Nemeth defending the SCX championship versus Ultimo Dragon.
That's crazy. That's a crazy match. I mean, I'm never going to see it, but that's a crazy match.
I see that right now. It was announced at 10 a.m. this morning, but that's fine. It popped up my feed just now.
So it's real now.
It's real to me now, damn it. This WrestleMania weekend is upon us, baby. Yeah, let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about. Let's start off with WrestleMania, since that is the big time show to talk about.
WrestleMania.
A little Paul Bearer popped up a little bit there.
Yeah. Sorry.
So let's talk about WrestleMania. Of course, WrestleMania Extra Large is taking place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This Saturday and this Sunday, night 1 and night 2, of course. Live streaming on the old Peacock, and we have 2 nights of action. Of course, we only know specific matches announced for 3 matches announced and where they're happening, and then we have like 8 other matches with, I don't know, they're gonna show up on one of these nights. I assume we'll find out more on Raw and SmackDown as the go home shows. Let's go before we get into the match preview, temperature check. How are you feeling about this year's WrestleMania as opposed to other years' WrestleMania? This is technically really the first one fully under Paul Levesque creative control. Well, I guess you can make an argument that this year's is not fully under Paul Levesque creative control, but that's another story for a different thing. So,
I smell what The Rock is cooking.
What's the little vibe check on WrestleMania this year for you?
I think they've done a good job. I mean, at least for the big matches. Right. But the funny thing is, so it's that, but it's also not, because the main event of night 2 has technically like nothing to it right now.
I was going to say, when you say big matches, which ones are you talking about?
Yeah.
We're talking about CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. We're talking Roman versus Seth.
Yeah.
We're talking Dwayne versus Cody.
I've watched the Drew and Seth stuff. I think Drew's done a great job to build up thing he's doing. But it's all about Cody and The Rock. And they're wrestling on night 1, not night 2. Even though there is a main event on night 2 that involves Cody Rhodes. It's a weird year, it's a very weird year, I think, for WrestleMania, but you can feel it. You can feel the excitement this time around from a lot of people. Obviously not everyone on my timeline, because I think a lot of people on my timeline can give a shit less about it. But WrestleMania is like the one show a year that I'm like, okay, if everyone's gonna try, it's this one. Like, if everyone's gonna try to hit a home run, it's this one. I thought last year's WrestleMania for the most part was really good. So I think they're gonna do it again this year, and there's a lot of good matches, like wrestling matches, which is nice. If that makes sense. I know that sounds ridiculous to say out loud. Like, oh my god, a big show has good wrestling matches. What an idea! But like, in terms of what I would like to see from this roster, yes, they are good wrestling matches. But we'll see. I've done my best to follow the build. The only build I followed every single segment is the Bloodline versus Cody stuff. But everything for the most part is pretty good. I mean, Becky and Rhea feels gigantic, even if it's not a main event this year. It feels big, and that's a good thing. They have the most unfair year to be doing that match because The Rock is here. They would if they were main events in night 1, I don't think anyone would question it. But The Rock is here, so they can't. Like, they just not a shot.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I don't want to say lucked out with The Rock, because who knows if.
No, they lucked out with The Rock.
Yeah, I mean, they lucked out in the sense that The Rock, his Hollywood career is on not a tailspin, but on a decline.
God bless. This man has remembered he is a pro wrestler first.
And at the same time as that happening, Vince McMahon is quickly getting kicked out of the office. So it was time for The Rock to come in. It's weird to think about what this WrestleMania would look like without The Rock involved, because you're right. Obviously, Roman Reigns Cody would be night 2, but what would be night 1 as that main event? And then even then, it's like, like you talked about, it's like most, if not, well, maybe not all, but most of the excitement that I think people have about WrestleMania this year is fully on The Rock's back and fully on The Rock's build to a match mostly that isn't happening, and that feels like him versus Cody. Like, you don't see The Rock doing any of this stuff to Seth freaking Rollins, right? And I've seen people hear the argument of like, maybe something can happen between him and Roman or something.
Yeah.
But like, you don't see him doing any of that stuff with Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins is in the match. Seth is busy working with little cousin on Friday Night SmackDown over here.
I found myself saying the other night, when I watched the Rock Cody thing, I was like, Roman, you gotta fight back, buddy. Where are you?
I had that moment when
I've had that moment a few times, admittedly, but this one was like the worst one, because I was like, this isn't even about Roman anymore at all.
I had that moment when I think it was the day after the great Cody Rock segment on Raw, where Roman Tuesday then. Where Roman tweeted out a meme of Seth Rollins as the 40-year-old virgin. And I'm sitting here looking at Twitter, and I'm like, my guy, The Rock is doing bloody old school era beat downs on Cody Rhodes, and Roman is making memes. I was like, they're the gulf of worker, the gulf of relevancy between the two right now. It's in some ways it's very negative for WrestleMania, but in other ways it's just like, The Rock is The Rock, and it's gonna be huge,
So Are we? Well, I guess this isn't the full preview yet. It was just it's the show. But I do think that they've made the decision, right? Let's get people in the door day one in terms of viewership, right? The Rock's doing this. This is the match we're building. And then hopefully when that match is over, you have successfully built the next night. It's very unique from what a usual build would be for your world title match.
Yeah.
But because it's The Rock, it's going to work.
Yeah. He gets away with it and it's over. So, he's going to work no matter what,
He's doing the best work of his career since before he left for Hollywood. Probably. Comfortably.
Yeah, I think he did solid stuff when he came back to feud with Punk and Cena.
Yeah.
But yeah, this feels more energetic, I guess would be to use that word.
He feels he actually feels like a wrestler this time.
Yes. And also, you talked about getting people in the door on night one with The Rock. If they win, we get the bloodline rules gimmick and all that stuff on night two. You get The Rock in at night two, and people.
So when they win, because they're gonna win.
Yeah. All the other matches, I mean, they've built up stuff. Like all the focus is on The Rock, and it's very frustrating. I think if you're Roman, all the other stuff has been built up.
It's Roman's fault. Rock is showing up more than Roman.
It puts in perspective of like, man, how much of a star Roman Reigns is or isn't, I guess, in this company, because he's the big dog, right? But it's like, man, we had to have like Brock Lesnar around the entire time to help Roman sort of a star thing, and now it's like just as he kind of gets to that peak, right? Years upon years, not just bloodline, but pre-bloodline Roman. Years upon years of buildup to just in 2 months completely become, as Jeff Bugenhagen in the chat said, the third wheel. He is behind Cody, which is rough stuff.
He's been behind Cody though for a while.
Yeah, I think that's
I think. Like Roman's very interesting. Like he's a very interesting person to always talk about because it's obvious he is a star. Like, when he's on the show, he does ratings and stuff like that. But he just like doesn't do anything. Like he's not here, right? So it's like it's hard to measure his star power, but it's like if you look at metrics and stuff, he is at the end of the day.
And to be fair to Roman, we're comparing him to The Rock.
Yeah, which is like not fair for anyone. The only person that is hanging, that is boxing with God, shout out CM Punk, for that damn thing they like to bring back. You
like to bring back, but I was like, didn't you lose?
Yeah, I was like, did you lose to him in the middle of the ring? The only person hanging with him is Cody.
Yeah, which showcases more of how great Cody is right now.
Which arguably should be the point of all this, so it's ultimately succeeding. Right? It's like, who is supposed to be the face of this company now? It's not Roman. It's not Rock. Well, it's Rock in terms of like public image now. But you know what I mean? Like in terms of who's going to be there day in and day out, kissing babies, hugging kids, signing autographs, doing the interviews, it's gonna be Cody.
Yeah.
So that they've succeeded in that, and ultimately that makes everything a success at the end of the day. And I think we're gonna really see that when we watch WrestleMania because they're gonna beat him that first night. He's probably gonna be a bloody mess, and they're gonna do everything in the book to cheat and make sure he loses.
Yep.
And then on night 2, they're going to try to do it all over again. He's going to be a bloody mess. Now that he's bled once, I know he's bleeding every single time he possibly can on this WrestleMania show.
The blood bag is opened.
Yeah, the blood bag is open, and it's going everywhere, all over his blonde hair.
And by blood bag, I mean his upper eyebrow.
Yeah. So like they're gonna do everything and it's gonna work. The crowd's gonna be so into it. And we're gonna talk about crowds later with another show and like how that changes a match. Like
Yeah.
the wrestling itself almost never matters if the crowd's into it. That's how I felt about last year's WrestleMania until Cody lost. And then I was like, oh, that's stupid. And like I expect him to lose night one, but night two, this is all built up for him to win, even more so than last year. It almost doesn't matter who he's facing on night two. And essentially he's just facing the bloodline. He's not facing Roman.
Which is obviously upsetting in terms of the Roman perspective of just like I said, like the buildup of all of this just to be like, it doesn't matter. Cody's gonna win, and then we hit, and then he faces The Rock. And it's
the funny thing is, right though, Roman probably doesn't give a shit.
If I'm Roman, I care. Like I get what you're saying, but like if I'm Roman, I'm getting dogged.
You should care.
I'm getting dogged out there.
But if you thought he actually fully cared, he'd be getting himself on more shows or something. You know, he'd be like, I'm gonna show up for this show instead. Raw will be interesting because they're both there, obviously. First hour's commercial free and whatnot. But let's get into the actual show, right?
Yeah, I'm just looking over at WrestleTix real quickly. They
sold a lot.
Yeah, fun fact, they sold a lot. Right now, it's not much of a difference. Night 2 has about 1,000 more tickets sold, but ultimately they're both 60K. So that really isn't much of a thing. But if you want to give Roman anything, I guess you could make a argument that he is out-drawing The Rock by 1,000 tickets. But, I don't know if we're necessarily giving him that one. Well, before we get really into it, I do want to bring up the point. We got that confirmation. We talked about this late last year. We got the confirmation officially today. Cody Rhodes signed a new multi-year contract of WWE that he said exceeds past his 40th birthday. And he's 38 years old. So now we know multi-years he's in WWE for at least the next 2 years. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, they said they're giving him the ball because his whole thing was like, "Oh, you know what? I'll retire at 40, or you could be the face of the biggest wrestling company in the world." And he was like, "All right,
don't turn my wrist too hard, you know."
Yeah.
Well, we kind of talked about it, but of course, main event of night 1 is the Bloodline, The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. Tag team match main event. The stipulations being if Rhodes and Rollins win, all members of the Bloodline are barred from ringside on night 2. They're not barred from ringside on night 1, so you have to imagine they are making some sort of play here. And then if the Bloodline win, Rock and Reigns, the championship match on night 2 will be held under Bloodline rules. Now, I know you're wondering, what the heck is Bloodline rules? And the answer
is different from Tribal Combat.
Yes, it is different than Tribal Combat. That's it.
Which you got to remember, Tribal Combat was no interference. There was interference, but it was no interference.
You have to, which is, interference 100% to be happening. But my interpretation of Bloodline rules, and this could be me believing, but based off of the beatdown The Rock did on Cody, and that the word is in Bloodline, I wonder if this is a match. Bloodline rules is a match that would advertise like, "Oh, we're doing blood," if that makes sense. It became part of the build. I wonder if this is the sort of thing where it could be a bloody main event, where it's like a violent main event, which could certainly help it, I think.
I think you're definitely right. I just learned that he is now like I don't know if you ever used to like watch a Rock movie back in the day, but now he's officially again going as Dwayne The Rock Johnson in his actual WWE stuff now. I did not know that. I thought he was just The Rock still, which I just find funny.
Yeah.
In terms of the night 1 main event, it's going to be it's going to be the most basic tag team match because 3 of the 4 guys are wrestling the next day in bigger matches, arguably, like in terms of like those are the two big matches locked in for that day.
And the fourth guy, the last time he wrestled, he like tore a pec or something.
Yeah, he destroyed everything in his body, and hasn't wrestled in years. So,
and despite that, it will go over 30.
Yeah, exactly. Despite that, it will go over 30. The crowd will lose their mind for 30 straight minutes. And it's gonna work. Like I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's gonna be an all-time classic, but it's gonna be an all-time. Cody gets his ass kicked and he fires up and fights back, and then they cheat, and then he loses, and it's like, can Cody get it done on the night 2? It's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be exactly what they want it to be. I know it's gonna be. You know why? Because The Rock has yet to miss.
Yeah, it's ultimately going to be preview tag. It's what it is, and it's going to it is going to be so over in this arena, in this stadium.
People are going to be losing their minds.
Jeff, you can even brought this up in the chat. 30 minutes of stare downs. 100% there'll be multiple stare downs that last over a minute. And at the same time, the moment he said that, I got reminded of the Go Shiozaki Fujita match. Where it was a legitimate 30-minute stare down. And, hey, you can't count out some of these wrestlers.
When I look at The Rock and Cody Rhodes, I think Go Shiozaki and Kazuki Fujita, personally.
In the sense that their body falls apart quickly? Or...
I actually, I'm looking forward to this match. But, it's funny. I am looking forward more to the night 2 main event still.
Really?
I am. Okay. And I think it's because... I know it's just going to have all the same people and then some in that main event. It's fair. It's going to be, but it's also going to be higher stakes. And I'm pretty sold that Stone Cold Steve Austin showing up at this point. And that's going to be unbelievable.
There's the obvious rumor that's going about right now. And if you want to believe production trucks, the obvious rumor going around right now is, you look at bloodline rules. You look at there's going to be interference. You got Jimmy, you got Solo. The only people that Cody has, and The Rock, obviously, the only person that Cody has in his corner is Seth freaking Rollins, who would have wrestled earlier in the night. Who knows if he'll be there?
There's a chance he's not able to get out there at that time.
And then Jey Uso, who wrestling
also could wrestle that night.
But so who the heck knows? To even the score, there's theories right now that Stone Cold Steve Austin and John Cena will be appearing.
Can you just imagine
the fight off The Rock? By the way, the fight off The Rock, 2024.
Hey,
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
This is different though. That's the biggest feud ever.
Stone Cold and John Cena returning. Just throw in a Hulk Hogan at that point. Let's get all the guys out there. He'll be there. Why not go out there, drop the leg one last time? Let's just get everybody. Let's send Andre out there. Let's just get Andre out there.
No, that's not the same. That's not the same. Because the last time the Austin and Rock were in a ring together, it's been a long time. Well, obviously it was WrestleMania 30, actually, when they did that little charade thing at the beginning. In the Superdome, that stuff. Mm-hmm. But this is going to be the crowd is already going to be losing their mind. And if that glass breaks and in the middle of the ring, The Rock and Austin are just trading, it's going to be great. So it doesn't matter. No one cares about Hogan. Cena will look like this minuscule person comparably to everyone just because he's come back so much. The reason it's bigger is because Austin doesn't come back.
Yeah.
He doesn't make returns all that much. The Rock doesn't either, so it will be big.
Well, to be fair, he did main event WrestleMania 2 years ago.
Yeah, but that was one appearance. This is the only time he showed up, to be fair. He didn't build up that match, remember? Mm-hmm. And I just think Cody winning is going to be a great moment no matter how they get there.
We're talking bloodline rules. We're talking.
Roman is in the match, by the way.
Yeah, by the way. So right now
we just named 200 people, and Roman was not.
All right, let's talk about the stars that are potentially in this match. Cody, The Rock as an interference, Stone Cold Steve Austin and John Cena as interference. That's probably relatively in order. And then number 5, Roman Reigns. It's
how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, because look at it, right? You got the interference spots. You got you send out no yeet first, right? And then you follow up with yeet making the save, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Seth isn't there for whatever reason. And so Solo Sikoa comes out. Who lost to Solo Sikoa? John Cena. And then The Rock comes out. And who's the biggest rival for The Rock? Stone Cold Steve Austin. The stuff is there. It's just a matter of, are they doing it? And then it comes down to is Roman losing the belt finally? Yeah. What are the odds Roman wins?
I give him
not 0. I do not think it's
0. It's never 0 with him. I give him a comfortable 25%.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the moment, if in fact Steve Austin shows up, Roman is 100% losing the title. There's no freaking way that continues.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I think the ultimate show-ending picture of a probable bloodied-up Cody Rhodes holding the belt, is
that'll be the image that's remembered.
Yeah, exactly. That is the launch into the next thing. That is what you need to do, and then it's just a matter of how long Cody holds the belt, right?
Sorry, we're doing the Braun Breaker shock immediately.
Braun Breaker, you're forgetting about Senor Money in the Bank over here.
That he can't he cashes in on the other belt.
Yeah, I think Seth's days are numbered. Probably
Seth's days are numbered, whether it be Drew or Damian. It should be Drew. But
let's talk about that. That's the other match for night 2, World Heavyweight Championship match. Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. We had to shoehorn CM Punk somewhere onto the show despite being injured, so he will be in the commentary booth for this one.
Exhilarating.
It's really disappointing that the last Raw, where they had the whole promo off between the three of them, it was all over the place. But it's really disappointing that
creates cash.
Really disappointing that Punk really floated the idea of being a referee that the crowd really liked, and you could sort of tell that that's what CM Punk wants to do. But that is not what is happening, and they're putting him in the commentary booth. So you could really tell that he's like, oh no, I could do that. And in setting up the idea of, the third idea is being a referee and then showcasing that I can count and all this stuff. This is what he wants to do and wants to be involved. So right now he's commentary, but I wouldn't be shocked if maybe something happens where that changes. I think you're right.
I'm feeling the whole ref gets knocked down. He's got a referee shirt underneath, and he gets there, and then one of them drill him or something, and it's like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather him be on commentary than an enforcer, though. The enforcer thing sucks ass even more. So
yeah, because at that point you're just waiting for a spot.
Yeah, at least this way he's talking and
and you're not necessarily expecting some sort of spot.
No.
It would be a shock. I mean, you would think he'd be involved in maybe some capacity, but you're not fully expecting it. An enforcer, maybe even a special referee, you're expecting those sort of things.
I think his involvement, if he does get involved, I think it's best to accidentally screw Seth.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Because him and Drew's already set up. That is locked in.
And if you put the title on Drew, then you have a Punk world title.
You should put the title on Drew. I think
he's doing. I think Drew's really doing great stuff right now.
He is. Not only did I think he hold his own against CM Punk the other night, I thought he did better.
Ooh. Until
the Chosen One thing, then he absolutely got wrecked.
I don't blame him for that one. That was
that one was tough. I was like,
that was straight shooter over here. CM Punk.
I was like, it was well done. But I think Drew should win. I hope this match is good because you and me have talked about Seth many times on the show. There's sometimes he can do pretty well in his title matches, and then sometimes it's like, all right, let's just get this over with. But Drew's very good, so I feel like this is one of those times that it should work out.
Yes, there's the other idea, of course, of Seth retaining.
Priest cashes in then.
Yeah, I think Seth retaining is totally plausible. I I think it's but my opinion, I think it's more likely maybe, despite Drew doing good work.
I'm
There's
pretty
also
50-50.
there's the hanging sword of Damocles over here of Drew McIntyre's contract status. So it's like also like who the heck knows about what's happening with that. And is he on his way out? I have no idea, but I think it's plausible for me. I don't know what you do. I like the idea of switching it to Drew, but if you have Damian Priest there and you don't want to mess with the Cody thing, I mentioned before that I like the idea of maybe like Cody having it for a short title run, but I can also see it being super long. But I also don't want a super long one. We just had a super long one of Roman. So, and even then, Seth's reign has also been super long. So I could see Cody's being short, but also if you want to end Seth's not with Drew, then I guess Damian Priest is right there for just that.
It's always a good time to remind that Cody's win is just about the win. The reign doesn't matter. Like ultimately, the reign doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's and that's how I've always viewed it, as like Damian Priest getting the cash in on and Cody. Him versus Judgment Day has been like a thing always in the background for Cody on Raw. And then on top of that, it's the fact that he set up the whole idea of coming to WWE, wanting to beat Roman for the big one. Yeah. This whole thing as a sort of dusty idea. I look at his winning the world title as a sort of dusty reign where he wins it and then holds it for like, I don't know, maybe 6 months tops and drops it to somebody else.
My feeling,
like you said, at this point, it's all about the destination. No, sorry. It's all about the journey. We get to the destination, it's whatever. And then we move on to the next thing.
My also feeling is Damian Priest can't be world champion, but that's fine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you take the title off of Cody. Capable. You take the title off of Cody, and then, we talk about it as like post WrestleMania this year, you're going to get that drop in ratings and attendance for sure. But you have to, you're going to just naturally get it after WrestleMania. Right. But it's a matter of how much of a drop with Cody is going to be interesting. And then if you put the title off of Cody onto Damian Priest, then it's just like, I don't really know about that one. I don't know.
That's why I don't think Damian Priest wins that belt, because you can't go from Roman to Cody to Damian Priest.
Yeah. Have they announced Money in the Bank yet?
It's in I don't remember where it is.
It is in Toronto, Ontario, Canada in July 6th. So we have until July.
I saw someone say he should just defend it. I was like, you know what? Good. Like that's better. He can just like re-enter. He can be a moron. That's fine with me, because I don't want him to be a world champion. But yeah, I think Drew should win. I don't know if he does, but that's my feeling on that
match. Women's World Championship match: Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. I know this is a match that you are very excited about. Big time match that I think they've been built very well. I think it's kind of been built up all year so far.
Yeah.
And Becky Lynch going through these various gatekeepers of Nia Jax, and it kind of not really, but also Liv Morgan
took a detour to win the NXT title. Things like that. I think Becky's great. Like, I just want to put that out there. Like, Becky's a very good wrestler, and I think like that could be lost sometimes with Becky, because she's just such a big star. And you and me have talked about it before. Like, she's had some matches on Raw in the past couple months that have been really good.
I talked about like 2 matches, like maybe 3 of hers that I've given like match of the week accolades to.
Yeah.
I said before that I think this is one of her best years, and the fact that she is getting probably 2 of Nia Jax's best matches out of her this year alone, like, kind of helps Becky Lynch's case.
And I think Rhea's great too, especially when she's in there with the right opponent. And Rhea hasn't had much help in that area, I think, in her title matches. It's usually like her versus Nia, for example, or her versus no one. It's almost always no one. But I think this will be great, and I'm pretty confident that Rhea should win. I don't think Becky needs to win at all. I think the money match, and I saw, I think Ibu tweeted about this, but the money match is obviously Rhea and Bianca somewhere down the line. And I'm not saying they need the title for that, or Rhea and Jade, obviously another big match. But a lot of the money matches are for Rhea, not Becky. And I just think it almost feels like they haven't done enough with Rhea as world champion. That makes sense. Like for her big matches, she hasn't had many big opponents, like at all.
No, if you look at, I want to pull up Cage Match real quick. If you look at Rhea's title reign, now, yes, it has gone on for, I believe, a year
as of
right?
WrestleMania, right?
If you look up her title matches from this year, it's not that great. We're talking, she wins the title for Charlotte Flair last year, then Backlash Zelina Vega, Night of Champions in a 1-minute match against Natalya, then Natalya on Raw, Raquel Rodriguez back-to-back on Payback, literally, and Monday Night Raw, a crown jewel fatal 5-way with Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and a singles match against Zoe Stark, a singles match against Ivy Nile, and a singles match against Nia Jax. Well, you're talking about whether or not these matches are good or you enjoy them, yada, yada, yada.
They're not big.
None of these matches are big matches at all. Becky Lynch is easily the biggest one. They separated her completely from Bianca Belair, which in a way is actually a good idea. It's just she hasn't had any big time matches at all.
The big names for her are on the other brand or separated from her via Becky, right? Like there's big matches with Becky, Bianca, Bayley, Io, Jade now. Even Naomi's I think Naomi's bigger than all the people we just went through. Tiffany Stratton is obviously you look at that and it's like this is kind of their big match in the future as well. And they're all on the other brand. So I think Rhea winning, keeping the belt, and obviously they do the draft every year.
I was just thinking that. I was like, the draft is shortly after WrestleMania, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It's usually a month or so.
Yeah. So
I think it's after Backlash or whatever the hell pay-per-view it's after.
You would have to think, well, then that's how you do it, is you have Rhea lose the title and then put her on the same brand as, I guess, either Bayley or Io, probably Bayley.
I guess that works.
Bianca, maybe Jade as well. They put
I don't like her losing, though. Becky doesn't need another reign. She had the year-long reign, but I am not going to be upset if I don't really. At the end of the day, I won't carry the way too much.
I think Becky having the title and having similar title defenses as Rhea Ripley against a lot of these younger people will do more for the younger people than Ripley facing them. And that is the pro part that I'm on.
All right, here's an idea.
Real quickly, I want to compare to Io Sky's title reign. Less defenses, but she wins the title from Bianca Belair. She defends against Zelina Vega, defends against Asuka, triple threat against Asuka and Charlotte Flair, singles match against Charlotte Flair, singles match against Bianca Belair, and then a singles match against Michin. Definitely feels like more bigger matches with Io Sky's reign than Rhea Ripley.
I think there is a discussion, if Rhea were to lose, you do need to pivot her to babyface because the crowd just wants to cheer for this woman.
Yeah, and you can easily do that.
Yeah, so I think that's a pathway as well if she loses. There's a pathway if she wins too. It's an interesting title match, and it's one that I really don't care who wins at the end of the day. I think I just want the good match, and Becky's got a good WrestleMania resume. Obviously, that one with Bianca, was it 2 years ago? It was really good, and I think the second half of that Charlotte match that people love to sing up was good last year for Rhea, and I think these two will click well, and it should be a great match.
I totally agree with that. Other women's title match here, of course, is Io Sky versus Royal Rumble winner Bayley. this dissolvement, that's a word, of damage control. It definitely feels like Bailey could win, but I feel like that would be too maybe similar to a Cody win. Bailey against the odds.
Yeah.
It's not out of the thing where Triple H books storylines that are very similar, but it's not completely out of the realm of something he does. But I think if you want to avoid a dissimilar thing, Io Sky could retain the title. I think it's certainly plausible.
I sadly don't see Io winning.
Mm-hmm.
I just think they're very much prepared to give Bailey another run.
I don't want to give Bailey another run, and I understand where Bailey is in this company, but it's like worker wise, like
she's not the same.
She's not the same. Her legs are in such rough shape since coming back.
She's got the right opponent, though. I think for this match,
that's certainly fair. It's just since coming back in damage control stuff, she has not been able to step up into.
She was great before she got hurt, like great.
Mm-hmm.
But the injuries. I hope for her that she could shine at the biggest show and things like that. Obviously, but I do agree with you. I expect her to win just because. But obviously, I'd love Io to win. I think there's still a lot of potential there, like with a Tiffany Stratton match.
Yeah.
Naomi, Jade. It's just kind of the same thing with Rhea, right? It's like there's all these other wrestlers, and if Io wins, Rhea losing to Becky, changing brands and beating Io makes a ton of sense.
Yes, and in the meantime, you can do an Io versus Tiffany Stratton match, battle the moonsaults.
I'm not saying no to that. That'd probably be like fantastic, truthfully.
Yeah. And I think that's certainly plausible. I think having a face Rhea overcome damage control or whatever, I think that's certainly plausible.
I like that better if that's where they want to go. But I feel like we'll get the reverse and Io will lose and Rhea will win. It'll be like, all right, well, whatever.
Moving right along, we also have the Intercontinental title match, Gunther versus Sami Zayn. There was some not controversy, but people upset with Sami Zayn in this spot instead of Chad Gable.
I saw he lost to Bronson Reed.
Who? Chad Gable? Oh, Sami Zayn.
This past week.
Oh, great. I'm glad it's weird. The story build here is that no one believes in Sami Zayn. And then he loses to Bronson Reed, which is kind of like, well, it kind of proves people right, doesn't it, Sammy?
Mm-hmm.
They're doing an underdog story, of course, with Sami Zayn. That's what you got to do. Do you expect Gunther to lose the title here? This is the question.
No.
Yeah.
It's weird now because if Seth wins, it's obvious who should beat him. And
sure.
It's the Intercontinental Champion. But if Drew
maybe that's telling. If Sammy wins here, maybe that'll be telling.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad if Sammy won. I love Sammy, but there's also like the potential of Sammy and Drew that has been built up. So it's like I'd rather just keep that alive for the world title. This match is going to be great. I just want to put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Gunther is his hit rate, no pun intended for all the chops, is at a high level when it comes to these big shows, right? And Sammy's great. So I'm pretty confident. This guy's trying to catch a fly.
What are you talking about?
I'm pretty confident that this is going to be great, and I think Gunther should win.
I tend to agree. We got two singles matches here, special singles. LA Knight versus AJ Styles, and of course, Yeet versus No Yeet.
All right, over under how many super kicks?
I think I'll set the line at 7.
7? I'm going over then comfortably.
Comfortably? You think it's that much?
Have you seen these two have a wrestling match?
Okay, fine. We'll set the line at 10. 10 super kicks. Over under.
That's a good line. That
might be a better line.
I might just go 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think 9 is very reasonable. So I'll go the under, but I don't feel
I'll go over. I'll go over then.
All right. I don't like going under at all. I'm not going to remember to count them. I hope you don't.
Here, I'll write it down.
No, we're not doing a bet for this.
We're not doing a bet. This is friendly competition. This is friendly competition.
Did you ever watch that thing I made you watch, by the way?
The NWA Hard Times?
Oh, right, you couldn't.
I couldn't. And I was like, well then, what do I do now? We haven't come up with anything else.
Oh, yeah. I don't think this match is going to be good. So is that a fair analysis for the Uso versus Uso match?
Well, are you team the proper analysis? Are you team Yeet or no Yeet on this one?
It's always just me, Us. Come on now.
I agree. I don't. Based on the Royal Rumble opener, I'm not entirely convinced this match will be great.
Great. I'm not convinced it'll be good. I want them to surprise me, but I think Jey Uso's been a lot better wrestler than Jimmy.
Yeah.
And I don't know how far. I feel like they almost should have a stipulation or something. Not just a straight up singles. Mano a mano.
Guy's a CMLL watcher over here.
Sure am. I don't know. Jay should win though.
And like I said, we also have the TNA special LA Knight versus AJ Styles.
Oh, I couldn't care less about a match on this show. That's gonna stink.
Yeah, that I have no confidence in that one at all. No confidence at all.
We have 2 more matches, right?
We have 3 more matches. Six-pack tag team challenge, 6-pack tag team ladder match for the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. Finn Balor and Damian Priest defending their titles against DIY, the Awesome Truth, the New Day, A-Town Down Under, and the New Catch Republic. Is that all 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's all 6 people. So no Motor City Machine Guns here. We're gonna get these 6 people. I don't know. I think this is a good way to put the titles on a new act without having Priest and Damian Priest lose.
It's gonna be
that's fine.
It is a WWE classic that we have this big ladder match and then just put over the fan favorite. Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder, whatever the hell his name is, won the Intercontinental title in a ladder match. Like, I think it was the last ladder match they did at WrestleMania, actually. 32, or the last singles one that they did.
Yeah.
And they did the Hardys, of course. I think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But I always liked the ladder match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I always think they just worked better because the crowd was so much better automatically. It's gonna be nasty. They have good teams to like do crazy stuff with. So
hey, and you got 12 guys out there. Surely there can be stuff happening. 12 people is a lot. Like I will admit, when we're talking like the history of ladder matches at WrestleMania, we're talking 6 guys typically, right?
6 to 8 usually.
6 to 8. We got 12.
It's gonna be messy.
You throw in the referee, we got a baker's dozen. You know, it's gonna be it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's gonna be messy.
You know, and even then, like you bring up like the Zack Ryder of it all, like even that was supposed to be not only somebody else to win, but that was like a shock win too. Awesome Truth is the setup here. Is there any chance they do a shock win on somebody else? Does Triple H finally get DIY over on the main roster? Is that what's finally come to pass?
I look at all these teams, and truthfully, R-Truth is the only person I see as potentially winning. Like, like I look at all these tag teams, and it's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. WWE United States Championship match. We're flying through this preview, folks. So I apologize, but we got
It's almost an hour, dude. What are you talking about? We're flying through this.
I know. We're flying. I'm flying through as much as possible. Triple threat WWE United States Championship match: Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. I would be more interested in this match if it was Logan Paul versus Randy or Logan Paul versus Kevin, which is something we've already done. But instead we got a triple threat. How do you feel?
I disagree. I think it's much better doing this with
really?
3 people. Yeah.
All right.
Because I think Logan Paul matches can kind of get lost these days. his singles matches because they work so much on like the interference and stuff now because he's like full heel. Like the Kevin match was decent, but it wasn't like I feel like they've missed the ball on some of his singles matches because they do focus on the interference aspect. So like with these three, what I see is the RKO out of nowhere to end it.
Oh, Randy Orton getting the U.S. title back around his waist?
I didn't say he wins it. I just said he's going to hit an RKO out of nowhere.
Right.
And that's going to be whoever is good to pin will win. And I think Kevin and Randy are smart enough to make the three-way work.
That's fair.
Not everyone works, but like they have Logan Paul do all the athletic shit for them to look good. And I think that's always like a good setup. It's kind of a miracle we only have one multi-person singles tag title match or singles title match because I feel like at WrestleMania you always get a couple.
Yeah.
It's nice to just have one.
That's fair.
And I didn't want it to be gun. I mean, last year's three-way worked out pretty well.
Part of the build-up as well is the Logan Paul knuckle duster, right? Yeah. You have to think that's going to be, some sort of thing. Is someone going to steal a pin? Is somebody is that going to somehow hit double punch Kevin and Randy? Is that going to play a factor? I think if anything, it's going to play a little bit of a factor, and then because it's a triple threat, he can't win with that.
Yeah.
6-woman tag team matches also announced most recently. Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane against Naomi, Bianca Belair, and Jade Cargill.
Bianca Belair's undefeated at WrestleMania.
Ooh, got a new Undertaker over here.
And you know who's definitely winning this match? Jade wins.
Yeah, I think
specifically Jade wins.
I think that's plausible. Sorry, Dakota. I say that, but I think ultimately I look at this match and I see it as a setup for a women's tag team title match.
Yeah, Bianca and Naomi probably.
Yeah, I think it's Bianca and Naomi. Maybe Jade Cargill. We're unclear how much week-to-week wrestling I guess she's doing. She did wrestle on SmackDown, to be fair. But
no, she didn't.
Did she not? What do I think she did?
Moves.
That's what it was. I was like, what do I think she wrestled?
To be fair, that was more wrestling she's done than in a long time. So
yeah. What do I feel like she wrestled?
I think you're missing a match. You have one more?
No, that's all I got on this.
It's Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar and Dominic.
Yes, that was also announced. That was also announced on Friday. Why is that not on the Wikipedia? Yeah, that's fine. We're gonna get another.
Not on the WWE website either, which should be more official than that.
Okay. So, Misfit Wrestling Podcast in the chat says WWE hasn't confirmed it.
Oh, so they're gonna add in Andrade maybe and someone else.
No, actually, no, because maybe they could. But I did see. I don't think this is a WrestleMania thing because I've been doing on SmackDown. But I did see they announced the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Let me double check that it's not a WrestleMania. I'm pretty sure it's just SmackDown. Oh God, they got my girl Jade Cargill doing the point. Let's see. Where is it? I don't see it anywhere.
I didn't see them announce it for SmackDown last night.
I saw it was announced today. They typically on SmackDown. Here we go. Oh, yes, it is for SmackDown on 4/5 right before WrestleMania. Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Andrade, Chad Gable, Bronson Reed, Ricochet, Nakamura, Omos, the Creed brothers, a bunch of other scrubs. Cameron Grimes is here. Oh, look at that. He's got a match. Cameron Grimes is showing up. Yeah, and then a bunch of other people are in this. So yeah, easy at WrestleMania, probably not. He's probably just gonna be doing this Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So good on you, Andre. Good on you, Andrade. And yeah, that's WrestleMania. I think that's everything we got. Should be, I think, an exciting main events for sure. Good show, there's potential. Well, I think great show, there's potential. Good show, I think is a good solid bet.
I guarantee you, one night will be great, and one night will be like, all right, that was definitely a show.
Yeah, I think the
That's how it goes with these
night
2
will fully depend on if they fully commit to Cody.
Night 2 is rarely the better night.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. They have the 2 matches that are like the big billing ones, so we'll see.
We'll see for sure. Also, that weekend for WWE, just quickly go through this, is going to be
NXT.
correct. Is going to be
Sorry, I did that wrong. Whoop that trick.
It is going to be NXT. What is the name of the
Stand and Deliver?
Stand and Deliver. Thank you. NXT Stand and Deliver at the Wells Fargo Center. Matches include, I'm just going to read out all the matches. NXT Championship match, Ilya Dragunov versus Tony D'Angelo.
That is for Ryan.
Is it?
That's going to be your favorite WWE match of the weekend. I can feel it.
Is it? NXT Tag Team Championship, Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker versus the tournament winners. The final tournament winner match
going to be the OC or LWO
or Axiom and Nathan Frazier.
It should be them, but it's probably going to be the OC.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the OC, so get into it.
Oof.
NXT Women's Championship, Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. NXT North American Championship match, Oba Femi versus Dijak versus Josh Briggs. And then a singles match, Carmelo Hayes versus Trick Williams.
I think they should put more main roster guys on the NXT Stand and Deliver show.
Of course, that's why they're putting the OC on it.
No, like good ones though. So like,
I'm sorry.
Like the people that you actually want to see.
Have you seen Luke Gallows wrestle lately?
I've seen Luke Gallows wrestle.
I was at an Atlanta indie show where he was announced.
You didn't say the last match.
I'm looking at Wikipedia. They only got 5 matches here.
You didn't say Trick versus Mello, though.
Yeah. Oh no, I did. I did say Trick versus Mello. Yeah, get out of here.
I don't think you did. I don't think you did. 100%. Run back the tape.
Chat, back me up. Chat, back me up.
Don't back him up. No, even if you did say it, don't back him up.
Back me up. I was at an Atlanta indie show where they advertised Luke Gallows to do a signing at the show, and he was there signing.
Buy a ticket instantly.
Of course, he was there signing, and then as the show started, he immediately dipped out. And halfway during the show, they're like, "Hey, is Luke Gallows still here?" And the crowd just like kind of turns and be like, "Nope." and the guys like on the announcer be like, "Oh, well, I hope everyone saw him." It's just like, wow,
that's amazing.
That's my guy.
Not surprising at all. With this show, I am very much looking forward to Trick and Mello because I love Trick. I think he's great. The tag match could be great if they, pick one of the 2 good teams and not the OC, but
yeah,
they're not gonna. Because like Braun Breaker's gonna do something crazy if they pick one of those teams. And the Beefy Boys should be something, right? The 3-way.
Yeah.
That's the type of 3-way match that Ryan likes. If they just all run into each other for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. There's gonna be some beef in that one for sure.
I'm pretty confident Trick and Mello will be the match to watch here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Tony D'Angelo in the main event. Probably
he's not main eventing.
Oh, is it the main event gonna be Mello?
Trick? Yeah.
Oh wow. Wow. Sorry, Tony D. But even then, you got Tony D there. You got probably the OC in another match. I'm low on Roxanne Perez and her NXT output. I don't think it's been great, in my opinion. And then you have some beef boys.
That's because you notably hate women's wrestling.
Wow. Trying to cancel me out here.
I wanted to create a bit, and it was worth it. No, I'm just kidding. Ryan doesn't hate women's wrestling. He just hates NXT.
I was terrified that you'd be like, nah, he just hates women. Terrified. My collar could not have been stretched more. Jesus Christ. But yes, Tony D is in the match. OC are in the match. Roxanne Perez is in the match. Trick and Carmelo has the chance to easily be the best one. Beef one may be really good. Dijak's in there, right? So that could be really good. And yeah, I mean,
I hope this is it. I hope they don't add anything.
I think my opinion is that I think that can easily be the best one. I am still but however, I think there's a chance that ceiling like that match can sit around like 3.5. I think you can get to 4 or even then, but I think it's like Hayes can be really good, but I think he needs a good dance partner. And Trick Williams is very good, but is not fully developed, you know?
Yeah, he's a unique.
Yeah, he's got the charisma and everything. So it is just sort of like, and they have the story build up. They'll certainly have the crowd in the palm of their hands, I believe. So I think it's plausible it could be a really good match. I am just sort of concerned that it won't fully come together. But I still think it'll be good. So I don't, that I do have slight concerns. And I would love to walk out and come on the show and be like, Tony D is where it's at. He's the match of the night. Tony D, baby. Let's go.
I honestly wouldn't be shocked.
It's Ilya Dragunov.
Exactly.
It's totally plausible.
All right, that's enough NXT.
Yes.
We done with CMLL now?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about CMLL.
You killed me. I wanted to talk about that first. He made me talk about WrestleMania for an hour.
We couldn't not talk about WrestleMania.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Hey, if you want, let's talk about CMLL. They had a show in Arena Mexico, sold out in Arena Mexico, 329 last Friday.
Yesterday.
Well, yes, it is yesterday.
Technically, yes, it is last Friday, but you made me think like a week had gone past. I was like, whoa, hell, hold on, where have I been? Which, if it was Sunday, I wouldn't give you flack.
Yeah, I'm used to the Sunday, so that's on me.
That's fair.
This show.
Oh boy, he took the glasses off for this. I'm excited for this take.
Well, it's actually because my eyes hurt. This show is really good. This show is really good. I did lawn work this morning, so my eyes, I got the pollen and all that jazz.
Yeah.
This show is really good, my man. This show was really good. Main event, great, easily great. Semi-main, great.
Loved this show.
Yeah,
it was. It's one of my favorite shows of the year. Probably second behind Revolution.
Let's see. I have a list of ratings and whatnot for
sure. But it's very close because of the atmosphere alone. Yes. The atmosphere is the best wrestling crowd I've seen in a long time. And this show is freaking beautiful. It was this is what it's all about. Ryan, this past week I barely watched wrestling. There wasn't a lot going on during the week.
Yeah, I've been prepping for WrestleMania,
and I've had myself caught up on purpose because I just wanted to not have to watch anything this week when I saw there was nothing. So besides Dynamite, going into CMLL, I had watched one old match, and that's it. So I was locked and loaded, ready for this show. And my God, it couldn't have happened at a better time. It was unbelievable. Every match on the show was entertaining for me. Top to bottom, I watched every single one. The last 3 matches I thought were great to fantastic. That main event, I'm still thinking about. I'm still thinking about that main event. Yeah. From the entrances to Mystico, my guy.
C versus No Chance.
The C versus No Chance, which were insane.
Ultimo Guerrero,
Daniel Bryan stealing the show. Ultimo Guerrero getting his ass whooped and then fighting back. Blue Panther doing a tope. Oh my God, I lost my shit watching that. When he did the dive to Claudio on the outside, I was like, ah! I was ready to rip the shirt off. I was going crazy.
But yeah, Claudio, just a fantastic base for Lucha Wrestling.
Yeah, Matt Sydal was good in his spot. popped when they called him the captain.
Completely held his own. The moment he realized it's the captain fall match and he's the captain, it's like, whoa, well, I know what this.
Yeah, baby, here we go. I thought Volador Jr. was great. He got his ass kicked as well.
Yeah, there was I think it was his first time in the ring when he was facing Claudio. It might have been later where he had like a sprint of offense against him against Claudio that I thought was really, really good. And my opinion on Volador Jr. I'm not
Volador Jr.
He's really good, but I'm not like super high on him. And I was like, that was great stuff.
He's a very unique wrestler in that like he doesn't excite you or he doesn't excite me or you, but he's very good.
Yeah.
It's like there's just so like when you're in the ring with like a Mystico, for me, it's like you're just not even here. Like it's all about Mystico for me.
Mm-hmm. And you have Ultimo Guerrero, who's exciting and a great crowd connection.
Ultimo Guerrero is awesome.
And then Blue Panther is just like interactions with Bryan Danielson, which I thought they did a really good job. Obviously, post match, we realized that we're going to get a singles match. I assume
mano and mano.
I assume it could be best 2 out of 3 falls.
I hope it is.
I would love that. I think it's certainly plausible.
Super Viernes, mano and mano. Are you kidding me?
Blue Panther versus Bryan Danielson. And I think now in hindsight, knowing that match is happening, they did a really good job of giving you so many teases of an interaction between the two and it constantly being interrupted by various people.
Yeah.
So to build up to that match next week.
This is one of my this was one of my favorite matches of the year, truly. Like the crowd was just unbelievable. And it had the perfect finish. It had the perfect finish. It said, "All right, let's go home. The hero of Mexico saves the day. La Mystica. See you later. Goodbye." Oh my God. Like I was watching this match and I'm like, it's a league of their own in terms of crowd connection. It's Mystico and Naito and everyone else in pro wrestling. That Ospreay does a good job, right? He has a pretty good crowd base, especially when he's in the UK and stuff like that. And Kento Miyahara has a very good reaction with his these two on a different stratosphere. Mystico in Arena Mexico specifically, unbelievable. And this guy's entire moveset is clapping, tijeras, and La Mystica. And that's all you need.
And probably the weirdest bumps you've ever seen in your life.
And they're great.
He bumps so strange.
He like flies. Yeah. And I also loved in this match that like Blackpool Combat Club just continuously beat down people. Like as soon as they started getting offense, they're like, no. And they just started going crazy, and oh my God, it was
great,
so good.
Great invader energy.
They were so good at it. And I was watching this, I was like, this can't be the last time. I mean, obviously we're getting Danielson Blue Panther, but like this has to be the beginning of
or at least a continuation. I guess the beginning would be AEW
of wrestler. No, well, ultimately AEW in Arena Mexico for CMLL. That's kind of what I feel like.
Yeah, well, I fully agree. This show was obviously,
weekend, by the way.
This show was obviously extremely successful, sold out. Obviously, they could easily run a show similar to this again and bump up the ticket prices. Yeah. They probably should. They probably should have for this one. And the main event was great, and the semi-main
even sold out the building.
Yeah, so it is certainly. If I'm CMLL, I'm looking at all this, and it's like 100%. We got to bring more of these guys back in. And it certainly, I think, sets up something for the future. Not only does it set up Bryan Danielson versus Blue Panther, but I think it's certainly plausible that it could be setting up an Ultimo Guerrero John Moxley thing, seeing that Ultimo Guerrero was the only guy properly eliminated from this match via Moxley. So it's certainly plausible that they could set up something for the future. And obviously, with Forbidden Door around the corner, you have to think maybe something is happening there.
I mean, everyone on the Blackpool Combat Club side essentially said, "Yeah, I'll face Mystico." in their press conference, they're like, "Oh, this guy's cool, but I'll face Mystico." And it's like, oh man,
Not just face Mystico. You got Bryan Danielson out here.
Yeah, Bryan Danielson went the
mask versus hair match. I'm like, my God. My God.
This was everything I wanted it to be and more.
Mm-hmm.
That would just be like, and it needs to happen in Arena Mexico. Like, I know I saw people calling for Forbidden Door. I was like, no. We're not doing that match at Forbidden Door. I was like, that has to happen in Mystico's house.
Yes, I can agree with that one. I can fully agree with that one. I think
the last time Mystico lost? He's undefeated in AEW. He's undefeated in Arena Mexico since he hasn't lost a singles match, I think, since 2021.
I was gonna say, I mean, he did lose in a 6-man tag.
Yeah, but those are different.
But you're talking about singles matches?
Yeah, he hasn't lost since 2021.
Is that true?
Yeah, or 2022 maybe.
I'm looking up on Cage Match and see if I can find anything. I'll tell you when I find his first loss, and I'll let you know what that is. Other matches on this here show, I thought the semi-main was great. The semi-main, of course, being
semi-main was my lucha match of the year. And then the main event happened.
The semi-main, of course, being the finals of the sort of Tornado incredible tournament of partners or whatever the heck. Basically, rivals teaming up with each other in a tournament, and then they had the finals here. So basically, a big old tournament of can they coexist? And I thought it was well done here. Obviously, Rocky Romero and Soberano Jr. are sort of a group as well. Whereas in this match, Rocky is teaming up with his rival Mascara Dorado, and Soberano Jr. is teaming up with his rival Atlantis Jr.
Finish of this match was phenomenal.
Yeah, you get I guess you could say the first elimination fall with Mascara Dorado doing the shooting star press, which defeats everybody on Soberano Jr. He did it early in the match to the outside, off the turnbuckles on the top rope to the outside. That was fantastic. And then you get a final sort of stretch here of Rocky Romero just like beating down Atlantis Jr., who is getting booed out of his boots in this arena.
Oh, yeah, Rocky. I thought Atlantis Jr. had a great match. He was outstanding in this match. And I think going to Rocky and Atlantis was actually very smart. This match was just great. I mean, it's the the best 3 young talent in this company, with the main invader heel, which is Rocky.
Yep.
And it was just great. And they were able to work off each other, sometimes clicking, sometimes not. This is how you do the can they coexist tag team match.
Yeah.
Right to a T. And the finish of Soberano Jr. ripping off Atlantis Jr.'s mask, giving it to Rocky and being like, you can have it. Good.
Yeah.
Was amazing. And then they beat up Dorada and then they break the cups. And I was like, that's heat.
Yeah.
That's the heat right there. I
also love earlier in the match with Soberano Jr. Rocky Romero. They have their first touching with each other. Hold on. They had their first interaction in the ring, and it is just them doing like lucha nonsense and then full on stopping, very like Bullet Club-esque, you know what I mean? Like peak Bullet Club nonsense right there.
Yeah. The semi and main back-to-back could be my favorite back-to-back of the year in wrestling, truthfully. It was just incredible. Absolutely incredible. This is why we watch CMLL, and I've never been more happy to have subscribed to their service than when they announced Bryan Danielson and Blue Panther immediately for next week. I was like, yes. I was like, my money is even more worth it.
Yeah,
because it's not cheap, folks. It is not cheap. But you got a whole month.
Last time Mystico lost a singles match was July 23rd, 2021.
That's my GOAT.
In the main event, Leona de Plata semifinal match, he lost to Teton in 3 minutes and 39 seconds. This was when he was called Caristico.
That makes it 10 times better.
And to be clear, he lost the main event to Teton. He won. This is a semifinal match. He won the quarterfinal and first round match earlier in the night. So he already got 2 wins earlier in the night.
So he hasn't lost since becoming Mystico again.
Yeah.
That's
In a
fucking
singles
amazing.
match.
You made a joke once upon a time that guys I love are just the ones that love themselves. Keiji Muto, Mystico.
Yeah.
You goddamn right.
They believe their own hype.
Yeah, and they're correct. Mystico should believe his own hype. After last night, you think he's ever going to not believe his own hype again? That's a Hall of Famer right there. Mystico's the best. No one better.
Women's 6-man tag team match as well. La Catalina, Tessa Blanchard, Willow
I really like
Nightingale.
this, actually.
I really liked it as well. I thought they had really good high octane action. Some miscommunication and miscues here and there, but I'm not going to hold that completely against them. A lot of these people, interacting for the first time. A lot of these people, but at least
the Rey Mysterio tag just got made official.
Oh, perfect. There we go. Well, then we already previewed it. There, some miscommunication and miscues. That's fine, but I thought the high quickness was really good. First fall, I really loved. Just
they did a great job with the falls. Usually, like when you watch the first and second fall, it's like, all right, let me know when we get to the third. They did a great job.
The first fall of the heels beating down the faces. I guess, right? The faces.
Yeah.
Was really well done.
On the heel side. She said, we're going to beat the fuck out of these people. Okay.
And she did. Second fall, there was like a little miscommunication, but ultimately once Willow got to the outside, ate a diving crossbody from Stephanie Vaquer, and then inside the ring
on it.
Yeah, inside. Yeah, and also perfect camera pan where they come over, and when they pan over to Stephanie Vaquer, she's already halfway doing the crossbody, and you're like, oh my God, she's flying at Willow. And then you cut back in the ring, and La Catalina and Tessa are doing some high spot moves in the ring. That was a really good spot there. And then the third fall as well, I thought was really, really solid. I
like Willow getting the win too.
Oh, yes, it was Willow getting the power bomb on Stephanie Vaquer, right? Getting a pinfall victory over Stephanie Vaquer. So you have to think that there will be stuff with that, whether it be in CMLL or whether it be in New Japan or whether it be in AEW. You have to think some sort of singles match would be happening down the line.
So in the next few weeks, Vaquer is on the Stardom show in the U.S.
Yep.
And then she's on the Windy City Riot show, likely defending against Azumi. Yep. I really like if they just stuck her and Willow on a Super Viernes.
Yeah, I think that is certainly plausible. You obviously you can't count out a Forbidden Door, right?
Well, that's very far away.
Yeah, it's very far away, but you certainly can't count it out. I would like to think that they might put Mayu.
AEW too.
You can also do that. I think you would do like some sort of Mayu title defense there as well.
You think, buddy?
We'll find out, I guess.
She should be on there.
But yeah, no. You have to think some sort of singles match down the line. Obviously, it's not I thought this match was really good. I really liked it.
This was my third favorite match of the night.
And then the other 4 matches, just real quickly, I liked them all really good. I didn't like them as much as the other ones, but all of them were still very, very good. I thought the Mask versus Mask 4-way match was solid, just really long for 13 minutes, just felt long. Yeah. It was solidly well done. It was just,
I really like the opener. I really like the opener. Neon
fun opener.
Brillante were great.
Fun opener. Esfinge Zanduken Jr. I thought was solid. And I really liked the Verno versus El Barbero Cavernario.
That was good too.
The splash the outside. I was like, we're breaking out. We got Splash to the outside. We got Mascara Dorada doing the shooting star to the outside. Everybody, these people are putting on their working boots. They know there's a big time show.
It is a Friday. This is when they put on the working boots, to be fair.
Yeah, but they know it. Arena Mexico sold out. They're gonna be
even in the undercard. They're like, all right, we gotta do the damn thing. I thought if anyone watched this for the first time, I think the people you're walking away most interested in are Neon.
100%. If you should be watching Neon for the past year, probably. Yeah, he had like a match I want to say earlier this year that was also really good.
Yeah, it was him and Dorada in the tag tournament thingy that they did against someone.
But also, he had a match where he teamed up with Futura. I want to
Oh
say.
yeah, that was great. Yes,
Against Magnus and
Yeah.
Rugio.
Yeah. I think the people that walk away winners here from the CML crew are going to be Neon, Dorada, obviously. I think Silverado Jr., Atlantis Jr. as well. I think everyone just succeeded in that match. Everyone knows who Rocky is.
I thought Stingay looked good. I thought
Stingay looked good. That was like the match I was like, all right, let's get this over with.
I get you.
And everyone in the main event, obviously, but I think Vaquer for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
She's just she feels like such a bigger star than everyone else in that match. Redacted wasn't bad either.
No, I thought she did a good job of being
She's a lot better than when she first jumped into CML.
Yes, I think she was really good at being the sort of glue of that team, the sort of ring general of that team, and it was fully necessary for what to really push Willow along. And sometimes Willow just kind of standing there moving around. It's like, all right, Willow, next thing, here we go.
I did watch her make her entrance. I was like, wow, if you weren't the biggest moron in the world, you'd probably be at WrestleMania right now.
Yep.
But CML is hot. Everyone should be watching it right now. I've said that multiple times.
I think also not just that CMLL is hot and people should be watching it, but also this show, we already talked about it kind of in the preview, but it really proved itself in the matches, how deep of a roster CMLL does in fact have, because so many people not on this show.
Yeah. Templario, Stuka Jr.,
Teton, Hechicero.
I feel like Teton's never.
I know he's never on these shows.
He's great, obviously. Futuro, who I love, I think he's great.
Yeah.
There was a lot of big stars not on here.
Dragon Rojo Jr., if you want to say that as well.
Angel Del Oro, if you're into that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into it. He's not there. He's on the card.
Who else? The world champion, Gran Guerrero, obviously. Great Gran Guerrero guy, because anytime I see that guy's name pop up, I'm like, that's my world champion, baby. And then he gets pinned.
The only other thing I really wanted to point out as well is I love my guy, Defunto, in the second corner for Zandokan Jr. My guy
I kept yelling.
Has been on one New Japan tour, and he's out here rocking the tracksuit.
I just want you to know, the entire time I watched that match, I said, "Oh my god, I can't believe Tsuji's in Zandokan's corner." Look, just because he had the tracksuit on, I was like, "Wow, that's really nice of him."
and then he turns around, and you see the Defunto mask, and you're like, "Ah, darn."
No, Tsuji was just wearing the mask. He didn't want to take away from the match.
Oh, I apologize.
With his smile, you know.
Are we? Yeah, that's fair. You don't want to. You
don't want this guy taken away from anything.
I think that is, if anything, is how we transition to previewing Sakura Genesis.
Oh my god, I forgot about this goddamn show. We still have so much WrestleMania.
I know we have so much stuff to get to, and it's going to be a quite.
We have Ring of Honor, right?
We have Ring of Honor still talk about. I'm lumping that in with WrestleMania weekend when we talk about that. I'm trying to pull up. Where is my card here? Well, I'm going to pull up the card here real quickly for Sakura Genesis. But in the meantime, while I pull this up, can you talk about? You watched All Japan this morning, correct?
I did.
Yes, I was not able to watch it. I was doing yard work, as aforementioned. So can you talk to me about All Japan? I really wanted to watch it and talk about it because massive title change.
Yeah, a lot of title changes. I watched the last 3 matches because I didn't want to watch anything else. But the last 3 matches were the most important. So Rising Hayato versus Musashi was actually my favorite match of the 3. I thought Musashi was great. I think anyone that watches him, and maybe this will be the first time, will be really into him. Hayato gets a very strong first defense. I thought Hayato kind of battling back as the underdog champion felt good because Musashi is like this experienced, guy that a lot of people know of and could have reasonably won the title. They had some great near falls in that before he won with the like lion salt from the top rope moonsault thing that he usually wins with. So that was great. Saito's a champion again, so hallelujah. I think that's my best way to say that match. That match was very like whatever. The Voodoo Murderers are gone. They are officially leaving all Japan once and for all. So the Saito brothers are just the Saitos moving forward. Like all the other guys, see you later. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right.
Good riddance. Get out. The other Saitos are wicked old.
Really? Oh, I think I did hear about that. They're like over 30, right?
Yeah, they're not young at all, which is wicked funny. They are 37 June? And yeah, they're both 37.
Yes, 37 years old.
So like I saw people like the new era is here. I was like, these motherfuckers are older than the old era. What are you talking about? Like Kento Miyahara is younger than both of them.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
And then the main event.
Who took the fall in the tag?
Suwama.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think it was Suwama. Yeah, I think he got chokeslammed by June and got pinned.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And the main event.
Yes.
Was very weird. It was
I've heard mixed reactions. Obviously, the main event result is Yuma Anzai defeating Nakajima.
Oh, I was hyped
for the Triple Crown title, becoming officially the youngest Triple Crown champion in the history of the title belt.
I think it's a great decision because I think Yuma Anzai is the type of rookie that should win your top title. It's the match that tells me everything I need to know, though, about Mr. Nakajima's future.
All right.
So Anzai got a good amount of offense in early.
Yeah.
He had a big jumping knee early, which is great. And then essentially from there, Nakajima takes over and is just beating the bricks off this guy, right? Kicking him in the chest, destroying him. It was full control for about 10 minutes. And then Yuma Anzai reverses him with a jumping knee.
Yeah.
Hits a suplex, and the match is over.
Shock finish.
It's a German suplex and wins.
But to be fair, shock finish. This is not out of the
shock
norm.
Finish, absolutely. And then Nakajima goes full Keiji Muto and just pretty much gets up and walks away.
Was it?
So it wasn't that bad because I think
how was it sold? Was it Austin Aries gets up, walks away?
No. He definitely sold it as like a shock.
Okay, because I think that's a big difference.
Yeah,
I think like if he sold it like Austin Aries and just walked up and left.
He did walk away with like a little smirk, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's. I have no idea what he's doing next." But
yeah, and I think ultimately it is, especially if Champion Carnival around the corner, it is a question of we have to wait until Champion Carnival because
he's not in that.
I know. So that's my point being of whether or not he's booked after Champion Carnival,
right?
My point, what I was going to say was that like if he sold it as walking away, that's one thing. But like if it being a shock finish, there is really nothing to sell,
Sure.
So there's that.
I actually like the finish if you do it moving forward, which is this suplex that this. So it was essentially it was kind of like a snap German, with a bridge.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. And I think that's a great way for him to just have a new finisher where it's like, I can beat you because this knocks you out long enough to beat you. Like, it's not going to knock you out in like, you're going to lay there after. It's, I got you. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very interesting finish for Anzai, who, like, if you asked me 3 days ago what was his finisher that was going to win the Triple Crown, I would not have been able to tell you. Sure. But it was the jumping knee into that pin. Nakajima rolls over, he's on his knee, and he's like, just kind of like, in a little bit of shock. So it worked, and the crowd's going crazy because Anzai won. I think the match could have been better because I know what they could have built this into, but it was to be the shock instead of something else.
Yeah.
But the title change is fantastic.
Yeah.
You and me talked about like it made sense to go from Nakajima to Kento to Yuma Anzai, but I'm not going to sit here and complain that Yuma Anzai is the Triple Crown champion because I think Yuma Anzai is fantastic.
Yeah, it's just the concern at this point now. We knew it was going to happen, and even just putting the title on Kento first, sets up more time down the line. But doing the title switch now on Yuma Anzai, he's been wrestling for 18 months. Obviously, everyone is really hoping for the best for this guy, a prodigy, if you will. Can All Japan keep it together? Right?
Yeah.
This
Seems like they've calmed down everything.
Yeah, I think they have. I think they've done a good job. And we talked about this on patreon.com or patreon.com/countupod on the newest episode of The Ballot that just dropped out. That is my plug, Rooney. I talked with Gerard DiTrolio of the Emerald Flow Show, and we talked about the Hall of Fame case for Kento Miyahara. And one of the big things we talked about was that one of the tough things for Kento Miyahara was that he did not really have any other contemporaries to really help him out in terms of elevating All Japan, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Jake Lee, who was on and off injury and then turned heel and was kind of a flop. You have Nomura, who also got injured.
Yep.
And then you kind of have, I guess you could say, Yuma Aoyagi maybe as well, who just recently really proved that as a draw as a champion last year was really good as well. But for the entire time until then, kind of unproven. Yeah. Now you get that closing shot, right? Rising Hayato, Yuma Anzai, the Saitos, even you can say even go as far as Dan Tamura and
out there.
And what's his face? Who's his tag partner?
Saito.
Saito.
He's not young, but everyone else was supposed to be like, here's the new era type.
Yeah, and you're talking new era. One of the things we talked about here is if you do the comparisons of Kento Miyahara to like a Tanahashi of kind of like holding All Japan steady through a dark age, now he has guys like an Okada, like a Yuma Anzai potentially to make something new for All Japan and turn this company around a little bit better.
Yeah, I think Yuma Anzai has such an incredible future.
Yeah,
obviously, he's going to be the face of this company.
Yeah,
Kento still is, but he isn't far off. If that makes sense.
No, it's
right.
Putting the title on him is 100% being like he's not far off.
Yeah, he's not far off from getting that title in terms of like this is our guy, and I think that's he is their Okada.
Yeah, I think
that's what he is.
Yeah,
he's shown very quickly, and he's quicker than Okada. Obviously, Okada did excursions and stuff like this guy, and I like that. I think Japan can benefit from a guy like Yuma Anzai seeing we got this guy. He's clearly talented. We're just going to go with him. We don't need to do an excursion. We don't need to do any of this. We're just going to go with him.
Yeah.
And I hope that kind of benefits the whole scene, especially with like this all together stuff coming up and the United Japan thing with all these shows. Like,
yep.
He's going to be a big part of, in a way, rebuilding Puro.
Yeah, especially in a scene that no longer has Okada.
Yep. I wish he was. I do wish he was in the big match that they're doing it all together, but I understand why he's not. It's very different. I don't know why the hell Yuya Uemura's in that match, but that's a different conversation. But and now we're walking into a Sakura Genesis show where I don't think New Japan's going to do it, but they have the chance to do something like this.
Yeah. Just real quickly, I think Yuma Anzai as well with a title reign. Short. If you're compared to
Okada, it's not gonna be long.
Compared to Okada, first title reign was what? 3 months, 4 months, something like that.
I would not be shocked if he lost at first defense against the Carnival winner.
Depends on the carnival winner.
I think maybe I could see the second person. So if Kento doesn't win it, maybe Kento. I think they're gonna probably give him. I could see I think Kento or Suwama's a lock for his reign.
Yeah.
One of the two, because they're the two grizzled yet veterans of
Yeah.
sorts. And then
Suwama would be a good also step of next generation.
Yeah. I think that match would rock too. I'm very excited about Yuma. And I actually am very happy about the title change because I kind of lost it with the Nakajima stuff. I just don't think it was hitting like it was at one point.
Yeah.
And now it kind of feels fresh again. And I think the excitement for All Japan's back that it was last year before the Nakajima stuff. Before he was even involved, which is good. I'd rather be there than where we were at the beginning of this year with the NXT stuff and the uncertainty and all these people leaving. I think this is a lot better. So hopefully they give him a good run. I think one defense and then a loss after is probably perfect for his first reign. But now he's the youngest ever, and that's what matters.
New Japan has a show this weekend, Sakura Genesis, on April 6th.
What this show looks like.
I'll tell you what the show looks like. We have 4 random ass tags to open up the show.
We'll preview the title matches then.
Desperado Taguchi versus TMDK, Fujita, Zack Sabre Jr., Bushi and Hiromu versus David Finlay and Gato. Oof. Callum Newman, Great O'Khan, Jeff Cobb versus Doki, Sanada, and Yuya Uemura. And then we open up into the bulk, the meat of the card.
Yeah, let's talk about the tag belts.
Yes, IWG. Yeah, the meat of the card, the tag belts. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Title Match, triple threat here. Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney versus Catch 2-2 versus the Intergalactic Jet Setters of Kevin Knight.
Dude, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that the Motor Machine Guns left TNA and they were like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here. The Kushida and Kevin Knight were like, we're going to head back. See you in a little bit.
Per date deals. All right.
It's laughable that Kevin Knight's still a junior. I don't know if you've seen him in TNA recently. That ain't a junior anymore.
Yeah, you talked about how he's bulked up.
He has bulked up. I think you put him in Best of Super Juniors and the G1. I think you put him in both this year. And I think you should put him in both because he's great. I'm very excited that they're back. I think they're very good. And I think Kevin Knight's a different wrestler than he was when he was here last. So should be fun to see him perform. And I think they do these 3-way tags pretty well in New Japan for the junior belts. So this is better than doing Catch 2-2 again or against the War Dogs. You add another team in there, change it up. Should be good.
I think it's certainly plausible as well with Kevin Knight and Kushida possibly getting the win. It would be you have Best of Super Juniors around the corner, right? So they kind of did it last year, maybe 2 years ago.
It was last year.
Putting the belts on them. I can see them doing it again. I think they're probably taking the titles off of the War Dogs unless something happening. There's obviously War Dog contract nonsense that no one knows about with Drilla Maloney and Clark Connors. So who knows? They usually put on Catch 2-2. They're a really good team, so I'm not going to be upset about that. But bringing in Kevin Knight and Kushida again, I would like to think that they're heating them back up for the next tour. So that'd be my guess.
I agree.
IWGP Tag Team Title Match, Bullet Club, Chase Owens and Kenta versus Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi.
You know I'm not watching this, right?
I know you're not watching this, and you know I'm watching this, right?
There's so much wrestling next week that I think I can miss Chase Owens wrestle. Thank you.
Well, will you be missing this one? IWGP.
Oh, by the way, I think we get new champions.
Oh, I'm fine by that. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Title Match, Show versus Yo.
Of course, I'll be watching this match. Are you kidding me? This is the cracked match. Roppongi 3 cracked. These two are out of their minds.
Mm-hmm.
Yo is, I don't know what the hell's happened with Yo, and Show obviously is crazy. Will the match be good? Probably not. Will the match be entertaining? I think so. And that's what I'm prepared for. I think Show obviously successfully defends it because this is his first defense.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. And like I said, the same thing I think applies to the junior heavyweight tag titles. I think they're keeping it on show. Maybe they do a full on shock and switch to Yo before Best of Super Juniors and try to do something there. But because Show, this is his first defense, he just won it. I don't think it's happening.
Feels like it's right to use the Best of Super Juniors to build up a babyface to take the belt.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be a good idea.
Oh, let's get to the real match, baby.
Well, I do think if you're going to build up any baby face, one I would really enjoy, I think, is Francisco Akira. I think that'd be a good baby face to build up.
I like that.
Show.
That would be great. That's actually a great choice. But sorry, we have real wrestling now. We have the Scapegoat and Sold Out, or the Soul, whatever the hell his nickname is. I have no idea what it is.
Jack Perry and Ren Narita match.
Say it right. The Scapegoat. Jack
House
Perry.
of Torture members. The Scapegoat Jack Perry and WCW Sold Out Ren Narita.
Yeah.
Versus the Death Riders, John Moxley and Shota Umino.
Oh yeah, the House of Torture has no shot this match.
Shot.
You know who's a little bit more powerful than. You know who's almost as powerful as Mystico in Arena Mexico? John Moxley in Japan.
That's insane.
John Moxley doesn't lose.
I think you're false. I think the correct answer is, of course, Evil in Japan.
I watched him lose to Yota Tsuji. Thank you. So,
good point. In a match that the crowd was fully invested in.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know what you're talking about. I think it's very much going to be Shota and Moxley getting the win here, unless there's wicked cheating and they want to pin Shota again. But I could just see Moxley pin Narita. So
yeah,
and keep separating into Windy City Riot.
Well, I've also mentioned it before.
Is Moxley not on Windy City Riot?
No, he is. He's facing Naito.
Oh, duh. That's embarrassing.
Big old doy.
That's why he's here. That's why, because he's going to do the face off at the end. Duh.
Yeah, he's facing off whoever's.
God, what a moron I am.
I mentioned it before. I wouldn't be shocked if there is some sort of Forbidden Door Evil versus BCC match. And sure. Maybe this could also be setting that up. You know.
Yeah. I got you.
And main event IWGP World Heavyweight Title match.
Nope. You skipped Evil.
He is not on Cage Match. Evil is not on Cage Match.
Well, he's on the New Japan website. It's right. Evil defending the never open weight title against Shingo Takagi, baby.
You're right. I have seen that graphic. Fully not on Cage Match right now.
That's crazy.
Who is it?
I thought you were skipping our boy. I was like, hold on. We don't
Evil versus whom?
Shingo.
Evil versus Shingo. Thoughts?
Didn't Evil beat Shingo?
Yes.
And so Shingo's winning.
Yeah, probably.
Yay!
I'll be fine with that.
Yeah, because then Evil could challenge Naito or Moxley at.
Evil can attack the Naito or something at. Is Evil showing up at?
No. He's going to be in Taiwan.
Oh yeah, he's in Taiwan. Oh yeah, well that also opens up Evil to maybe win like Never Trios champions now that those are vacated.
Also true. So I think Shingo should win.
I'm fine with that. Shingo's had a weirdly I think Shingo's probably had the best in-ring year so far in New Japan, possibly. I'm trying to think in my head. I want to say Shingo's number one.
I'm going to blindly agree.
Yeah,
I have no idea, but you're probably right. Yeah, he has
ratings to see if
my number one.
Yeah, Shingo's my number one. Number two, Yota Tsuji.
Wow, you rated Yota Tsuji high. I'm shocked. I'm just kidding. They're probably right. He's probably mine too. I just no, he's not.
Main event. IWGP World Heavyweight Title match: Tetsuya Naito versus Yota Tsuji. We talked about this already. We've kind of semi-previewed it in a sense of we don't believe Yota Tsuji's winning at all here. It's fully so that we can do a Naito versus Moxley title match at Windy City Riot. That's what we've been believing for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And but despite that, I think it'll be a very good match. Very, very good. Probably great match. Yosuji's really good in his bag right now. So
it's very interesting because we never get faction versus faction title matches. So there's a lot of intrigue to that alone. Suji's going to be out there to try and prove himself in the big spot. This is a very important match for him. Very important match for him. He needs to go all out, and I think Naito's going to do everything in his power to make sure he looks great.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, they're in the same faction. They're going to take care of each other. If there's one thing that Naito does, it's take care of his guys, and he's one of his guys. So I think this is going to be excellent. One of the matches I'm most looking forward to in the whole WrestleMania week. So very excited. Very excited.
Above Evil versus Shingo?
I said one of. But also, Evil and Shingo is not very high on the list.
I love the immediate of like not saying no and be like, oh no, that's in there too. Don't you worry. That's very funny. Yeah, I think it's a solid enough show. In the midst of WrestleMania, I think it's solid enough for Sakura Genesis. Let's talk about WrestleMania weekend, but really, ultimately, it's WrestleMania week. Hasn't been
weekend ever, by the way. It's always been a week.
I know. I want to say I heard that there was like over 50, maybe close to 60 shows over the course of the week. Last time I checked, 5 of them were canceled. I think I saw 5. I saw 5 canceled shows.
Wow. Were they important? Clearly
no. I want to say the stat I heard was that there's over 600 wrestlers across all these shows. And you and I went through the week individually and just sort of pickpocketed different matches and different shows that we're interested about.
There was more than I thought.
There's not enough for my liking.
No, there's enough.
All right.
There's enough. You and me talked about this privately. I had the realization of like what was missing from this week. And it's mostly that Impact and New Japan are no longer running.
Yeah.
For WrestleMania week.
New Japan obviously not in town, but also Impact not in town.
Yeah, and they had Multiverse United obviously, and New Japan always had a show.
Yep.
Lone Star Shootout 2 years ago, for example. I think they had one last year, and the G1 Supercard a couple of at 2019.
Yep.
So like they've always been a very big part of it. And now they're not. They instead postponed it essentially a week for Windy City Riot, which I think is better. Yep. But I think that's very much a big reason why it does feel a little empty. Also, a lot of the collective stuff isn't as exciting as it's been previously. I mean, usually it's not that good. But at least there's more bigger matches. But I do think that in terms of substance, they have replaced it well. Obviously, Stardom now has a show that is new. So that kind of replaces the New Japan side of things. Ring of Honor still there.
Yep.
Which is great.
A downside, CMLL wrestlers obviously not available.
Yeah, they were going to be a huge part of this week. And once a lot of them couldn't go, we've seen the cards dramatically change.
I was thinking about that as well. And we'll get to sort of one of the big singles matches, obviously the Volador Jr. Gringo Loco match for a GCW show, and that being replaced from Volador to Drilistico. And I was just thinking, I was like, there are other like CMLL wrestlers that can come over that have working visas. And even then I had the second thought of, in all my things of matches, I don't remember a single AAA wrestler on any of these shows. And granted, all of this is like Philly, and that's another travel thing. But I was just thinking, I was like, there's like,
Vikingo's hurt.
I know, but you're thinking of like, I feel like Psycho Clown was on other shows.
There's not a lot of other AAA wrestlers.
I'll take a Sam Adonis, even.
I'm good.
But you know what I mean, a stateside guy.
Sure.
But like, there's no like there's like no Lucha guys. New Japan's
World
not
on Lucha move too.
Yeah, World of Lucha moved for obvious reasons as well. But still, like no Lucha guys. New Japan's not here. And so all of their guys aren't able to work it, I guess, except for Kenta. Impact, the only people that are in Impact are people that are working these dates that have date deals like Mike Bailey. AEW is like no one really. I think it's all like the undercard people, like a Nick Wayne, really.
I think it was said on Observer Radio that a lot of people were requested, and there's a lot of denial from AEW wrestlers
That's
this
not
time around.
That's not a complete shock to me. Not a complete shock to me. And when we talked about this privately, one of the things I mentioned was that like when I look at this stuff, not only you have the conversation about like the state of indie wrestling, which is in its own thing a bigger issue, but another aspect to all of this I feel like is that like I compared it to like E3, when a bunch of these like Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo all started leaving E3 and doing their own conventions somewhere else. Like all these big companies started leaving and doing their conventions somewhere else. You suddenly have like nothing happening on this weekend, and it really showcases that, like how much these bigger companies tent pole WrestleMania weekends for the past couple years, and when you remove them, it's like, oh, that is not much underneath.
Yeah, I think that's New Japan also having Sakura Genesis changes that for them.
Obviously,
right?
Obviously,
because like they do the same time every year or whatever. I have slightly jokingly, but not really jokingly, said that it's the Joshi week now because that's really where most people's excitement is in terms of like non-WrestleMania stuff. Yeah. I think because Stardom has a show, TJPW has a show, obviously Stardom's going to be on Ring of Honor, so like that's really where the excitement is. But that I think it also speaks volumes to where we are on the other side of things. I still think there's a lot. There's still like a lot to like, but it's definitely a lot different this year than it has been in previous years. I still think I'm going to be watching a ton of wrestling this week, so I can't really say much about that.
Well, let's go through. Let's just talk about some of the matches and maybe some of the shows that interest us. I think the bulk of the week really starts on Thursday, April 4th. But obviously, there's shows Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Any of those shows interest you? Any matches of those first couple of days interest you?
From what?
From Monday to Wednesday. I will say one match interests me on those first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
on Monday and Wednesday.
Yes, they're H2O Wrestling, which is a local indie, so I get that.
Oh, okay.
6 shows, one match interests me, and I'll tell you this: Labor of Love and Sean Henderson presents Wrestle John, Wednesday, April 3rd, 5 p.m. Mike Bailey versus Paul London.
That's crazy.
That's the first thing I saw that was like, well, that's kind of interesting, actually.
Eli Isom's on the show.
Oh, my boy, Eli Isom. He's still around? He's still cooking somewhere?
He is.
Good on Eli Isom. Anything from these that interest you at all?
Yeah, I think Powerhouse Hobbs versus Will Ospreay is pretty cool.
I don't blame these people for not running. There's 2 shows at 8 p.m. and I don't. The bold move, guys. Bold move.
Yeah, no, and that's in my world, Worcester. I just realized this weekend. And Collision taping, Big Show,
Big Show, and Paul White.
What the hell is Cream Mania in New Jersey? These are all in New Jersey. These H2O shows
are they?
Yeah.
Why are you advertising for WrestleMania weekend if you're in New Jersey?
I don't know, but
I know it's the tri-state area, but still.
Let's get the Thursday on. That's where it really kicks in.
Yeah, Thursday kicks off really with Defy Wrestling, Can't Deny It, 11 a.m. This was a show that interested me. There's a couple matches that interest me a lot. Defy World Championship, Kenta versus Gringo Loco. That's like the only New Japan guy here on this entire week.
A match.
And then he does this and then flies to Japan to defend the tag titles.
That's
A Chris Brooks and Kid Lycos versus Moonlight Express, Mike Bailey and Mao.
We'll definitely watch that.
And a trios three-way dance. Evan Rivers, Judicus, Travis Williams versus Dragon Gate, Shun Skywalker, Ben K, Ho Ho Loon versus Kota Chun, Guillermo Rosas, and Casey Navarro. That interests me as well. They also have a women's match. I believe it was Trish Dora versus Sawyer Wreck, but I know she's injured. So who knows what's happening there. I don't think they've announced anything yet. And then the champion, who is, why am I blanking on her name? Bird Vixen, yes. And that was supposed to be a triple threat, but with Sawyer Wreck on, I don't know. But that's the Defy. That looks like a good starting, really, show of the week if you wanted to watch anything.
Yep. I like seeing Defy be involved because obviously I know you've obviously talked them up before. But they never were always easily viewable, but they're going to be on at least Fight, Triller, whatever the hell it's called, this week. So we'll be checking that out.
Yeah, it's 11 a.m. that show. Also on that week, unless I assume there was nothing else until 3 p.m. that really interests you, Scotty. I doubt a Labor of Love, and Sean Henderson presents Euphoria or All Caribbean Wrestling Philly Mania much interests you.
Certainly not.
But they have a Stardom American Dream in the Keystone State, 3 p.m. Pay-per-view on Triller.
Best. Making me pay extra money. Kidding me?
I'll let you talk about this show.
Yeah. So this is it's an interesting card. It is. Okay. I'll say
you're getting a world title match here.
For someone that tried to go but can't go, the card made me feel a lot better. But they have a world title match, and I think that's really what matters. This is the second time ever that the World of Stardom title will be defended in the U.S. First time ever on a Stardom show, so big history there. But let's quickly go through it. You'll get a high-speed battle, but not a real high-speed battle, but a high-speed battle nonetheless. The high-speed title is Mei Sarah defends against Saki Kashima and Ram Kaichou. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that. I was like, that is not what I would have went with, but okay. You have the former Amari Miller of NXT on this show. She's teaming with Azumi and Saya Kamatani against Stephanie Vaquer, Momo Watanabe, and Starlight Kid. The smartest thing they did was put Azumi and Starlight Kid in the ring in America. That is the smartest decision they made.
Also, Amari Miller's first match since leaving NXT around January.
Wouldn't be shocked if she gets a shot in Stardom if she's interested in going into Japan. She's currently going by Karen Brené. So
yeah, that was her match. That was her name, her indie name before Amari Miller.
So obviously, the intrigue for that match is Azumi building her match with Vaquer for the week after, as well as getting to see Azumi and Starlight Kid in an American ring. Right? I feel like that's kind of the big selling point there. You'll have Willow Nightingale and Saki against Shuri and Konami. Going to be pretty cool to see Shuri and Willow in the same ring. I'm very interested in that duo. Saki likely to get pinned in this match. But it's cool to see Shuri over there. The other thing about these tags is like, I know who's going to try. I know who's not going to try. I watched Stardom enough to know exactly what's going to happen here. Shuri will give you some good stuff with Willow in this match, and it'll be worth it.
Is there anyone in the next match that is not going to try?
Momokogo is going to be getting her ass beat. I'll just tell you that right now. So you'll have Mayu Itani, Tam Nakano, and Momokogo against the original trio of Club Venus, as it'll be Marina Shirakawa, Mariah May, and Zaya Brookside. Obviously, very cool to see those three back together. I looked at this match. I was like, well, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get Mayu to tag in, do her super kick, a few cool moves. She'll get out, and you'll get Tam to hit like one suplex, and she'll get out, and then Momokogo will be the one probably getting pinned. But it is cool to see Mariah May back in Stardom ring. I think that's the whole selling point, to be honest, for me with this match. Because Mariah has obviously made herself a star, and I'm happy gets to be on this show. The thing about these tags, right, is that there's like always one person in each match that you're like, well, if this was someone else, this would be really, really good. That's kind of my takeaway. I'm not saying who in any of them, just saying. But the main event, which is the big match, of course, Micah defends the World Stardom Championship against Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne was the only person not announced for this show. Micah just said, I'm fighting Megan Bayne. Take that, Momo Watanabe. And that's what we got. This should be very good. If there's any match that's going to deliver on the show, it's going to be that one. I think Micah's hungry to deliver as the World of Stardom champion, and I think Megan Bayne has been great in all her Stardom appearances, so this should be a lot of that as well. Wouldn't be shocked if Momo Watanabe officially challenges also on that show. Kind of set up the it's very weird, but she's probably going to be the Boom Time match, which I don't know what we're doing if that's the case. Like, that's your big event. Like, okay, I got to go on a little rant here. Congratulations. This is a Joshi exclusive for me. I usually save a lot of my rants for elsewhere, but this is going to happen here. I understand the praise and stuff. Taro Kai has done a good job or whatever. You do not Micah and Momo for the biggest show of the year does not make sense to me at all. And that it should be Micah and Tam. I don't care what you feel about Tam. I don't care what you feel about Micah. Tam is the big draw. That's why she's always in the main event of these big matches. Like, they already have Hanan in the Wonder of Stardom title match. That's already a risk for the biggest show. Momo, who Bushiroad has reportedly not always loved in the past. I have no idea what they're doing. Whatever. But I think the show will be good. It's a taste of Stardom on the Wrestlemania show. It's very much here is Stardom. Here's an experience of Stardom. I need to tell you this, Ryan, because I don't know if I said this, but I looked at this show and I was like, okay, there's 3 people on this Stardom show that I want to see. Like, for my personal taste, 3. That's it. Mayu, Mei Sarah, and Azumi. Those are the 3 people I want to see live. Everyone else I want to see live isn't going. Hazuki's not there. Natsupoi's not there. Who's the others? I'm drawing like Suzuki's not there.
Yep.
Hanan's not there. Oh, and very important one, Utami's not there. So, like, when I saw the final announcements, I was like, all right, I don't feel that bad because I have more people I wanted to see that aren't there than that are. And Mayu will be back. I'm confident Mayu will be back. She has the IWGP title and probably for Forbidden Door. Yeah. Mei Sarah is in a big spot. And here's the other reality, Ryan. The best Stardom match this week isn't going to happen on this show. But we'll get to that. But I will say this. I don't want to be like the sour person. Anyone that's going to the show is going to have a great time. They're going to get to see Stardom live. This is what people have been waiting for in America. You get a world title match. You get some interactions with Mayu and Tam and Azumi and Starlight Kid. So it's going to check enough boxes. But for my personal taste, I named a lot of people that are among my favorites. I announced all my favorites. 3 of them are going to be there. 3. That's tough. That's tough L for me. But I also think they're going to be coming over a lot more. So it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. We'll turn their cares around. Moving right along. A couple other shows. Bloodsport X, Bloodsport 10 is happening at 4 p.m. this day. Bloodsport has been shaky maybe the past couple of years. Last year,
the match that they were doing on here. I didn't.
Yes, they've been shaky the past couple of years. They had the big Ibushi match last year, which was not too good. But they got a couple stuff on here that I think at the very least could be interesting to pretty good. Timothy Thatcher.
Like that Axel's on here.
Yes, I was going to say Axel Tischer versus Timothy Thatcher, Nick Nemeth versus Mike Bailey.
I'm very intrigued for some reason.
Fuminori Abe versus Takuya Nomura.
That's the one, everybody.
Match of the year contender last year. But now
it
they
was
have to do
high
it
on
again.
the foul list. Voice of Wrestling?
Yes. And now they have to do the same match without any ropes. Josh Barnett versus Johnny Bloodsport. And then, of course, from WWE, Shayna Baszler versus Masha Slamovich.
I will say, I think Suzuki versus Isaacs will interest me enough. I will say
those are the ones that interest me, but there's obviously other matches on the show.
For a blood sport show that I'm not always too much into, this actually has more matches that I'm intrigued by than usual.
Yeah.
Like nothing jumps out like a Moxley or a Bushi last year, but there's like good matchups. And I think Nomura and Abe is like your best bet to be something great.
Yeah, well, for the puro perverts out there like us,
hey, well,
Abe versus Takuya Nomura.
You just toss that out there, but
yeah, that's a match that like interests those kind of people. A bunch of the matches as well. Then you got the WrestleCon Mark Hitchcock Memorial Show at 7 p.m. Not a great lineup. Obviously, they intended to get a lot of more CMLL wrestlers this year, but the fact that also they did get 5 CMLL wrestlers and they don't show up, I think, on any other show this week. You have Team CMLL, Mystico, Averno, Barbero, Cavanario, Viliano 3 Jr., and Star Jr. all teaming up to take on Team Dragon Gate, Shun Skywalker, Kota Minoura, Ben K. Yamato, and Dragon Kid.
That's pretty cool.
That's a pretty good match there. I'm also strangely intrigued by Rob Van Dam versus Mike Bailey and Josh Alexander versus Masato Tanaka.
Yes,
those are
pretty good
interesting for the very least.
I want to quickly do the DDT show if you don't mind.
Real quickly, right before DDT, a big time match that I know you're interested in. 5-star wrestling. We are 5-star at 8 p.m. Same time as the TDT one. The Premier Hybrid Championship. Of course, we all know what this is. Rhett Titus versus the Mecca, baby. ROH 2019 special. If I've ever seen one, Rhett Titus is back, baby. Woo! Get into it. Okay, go right ahead. You can do DDT.
DDT goes Philadelphia. I have no idea what time this is on.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. The match is worth
4 shows happening. 4 shows all happening at 8 p.m.
Also, one of the only shows with AEW talent on it.
True.
Nick Wayne's on the show. Billy Starks is challenging Mao for the DDT Universal title, which is pretty wild.
Takeshita's on the show.
Yeah, you'll have Takeshita versus Shuma Katsumata. I think this year has told everyone you should probably just watch Takeshita if he's wrestling.
Yeah.
This guy has a match. Yeah, I should probably watch that. You also have Brian Keith on the show, another AEW talent. Chris Brooks and Kid Lycos team up on that show against Brian Keith and Shota of Gambare Pro. And the other match that I think is very interesting is Speedball Mike Bailey versus DDT's world champion Yuki Ueno.
Yes.
That's definitely interesting.
Non-title, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, non-title. For now.
Yeah.
I mean, they could always add that if they wanted to.
I guess that's fair. I think that's a solid show. And
especially because it's on Triller Plus.
Yeah, baby.
Anything on Triller Plus is a little more intriguing because I don't have to pay for it.
A show that's also at 8 p.m. that I'm interested in is Action Wrestling in Seguno Kayada Dean, the DVD VR show. Also New Jersey, 8 p.m. IWTV, if I'm not mistaken. Action World Wrestling World Championship, Alex Kane versus Colby Carino. Gringo Loco versus Dr. Cerebo. Slim J versus Adam Priest. Makabe versus Thatcher. I talked about it last week as well. They had a very good trilogy of matches. Matt Mikowski versus Arez interests me. I'm very intrigued about this. Mad Dog Connolly versus Demus El Demonio, a dog collar match. If I'm not mistaken, Demus is a big Mexican dog collar match worker, and Mad Dog Connolly is also a dog collar match worker in the States. And he had a really good dog collar match, I want to say earlier this year, against one called Manders in St. Louis.
This is the show that I'm looking at, and I'm saying, all right, I'm going to need the Ryan tell me if I need to watch this because
I think this show could be sneakily very good.
okay.
I think it's very easy to look at this show and just be like, this is a bunch of random people, but I think this is well put together. In terms of styles and different variety, that I think this could be a very good show. Very easily.
I'm gonna need you to, watch it and be like, all right, this is what you watch.
Speaking of sneakily good, 11:59 p.m. JCW and GCW versus the World. 3 matches on here that I'm interested in. Team Dragon Gate, Yamato Dragon Kid, Shun Skywalker versus Latigo, Erez, and Gringo Loco. Jordan Oliver versus Engel Blanc from France. Alec Price, Cole Radrick, one called Manders versus Fuminori Abe, Rina Yamashita, and Takuya Nomura.
What show is this?
This is JCW and GCW versus the World. And then JCW World Championship match, Masha Slamovich versus Shuri.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one, baby. That's the one.
That one's crazy. That one's just like, I keep looking at it, I'm like, I don't even know how we're booking this. I don't even know what the plan is here. I'm just interested. Yeah. I'm just intrigued. I'm excited. This show starts at 11:59 p.m., so I'll see it the next day because there's no chance in hell I am staying up for that on a work day. The beauty of working at home is I don't have to take off work. The problem working at all is that I'm not watching that live. That's the only one that really hurts though. So I kind of win everywhere else. But yeah, that's I'm very excited for that match. I think that goes. I'm obviously a big Masha fan. And Shuri is Shuri. I don't need to say more, do I? She's one of the very best. That's a good show.
Vinkin Bjorn brings us up in the chat. Masha facing Shayna first and then Shuri.
Same day.
Same day. I think that
the Shuri faces Willow the same day.
There are a couple people on this weekend that if they're having a match, you should check it out. Like Takeshita's obviously one. I think Masha is another. I think
Masha's good matches.
Mike Bailey is also kind of a guy, less so than a couple years ago, but also kind of a guy. But I think Masha Slamovich, if she's having a singles match, you should check it out. I think that's fair. And then Friday, April 5th, Tokyo Joshi Pro has a show. Do you want to walk through that a little bit?
Yeah. That's, they have actually their humongous show in a few hours. Grand Princess, that again is pretty crazy how many shows they have this week. So Billy Starks continues her weird week. She'll be facing Hyper Masao on this show. So Billy Starks' week is fighting for the DDT title against Mao, fighting Hyper Masao on the TJPW show early in the morning, and then going to Ring of Honor. Sorry, anyone that's listening, Ryan has a Snoop Dogg image, and I was not ready for it, so I apologize. But yeah, TJPW. So Billy Starks will also be fighting Queen Aminata that night in Ring of Honor. Shoko Nakajima will be going against Rio of England, not Riho. Rio's often in Progress, Pro Wrestling Eve. That's where she's popped up the most. We'll have Raku and Yuki Aino versus Viva Van and Yuki Kamafuku. This match should be pretty decent. It's now Kakuta and Zara Sakir versus Daisy Monkey, Arisu Endo, and Suzume. Mizuki and Vert Vixen team up against Maxi Impaler and Palm Harajuku in your main event, which will easily be the best match of this show. It'll be 1 to 1,000,000 Maki Ito and Miyu Yamashita versus Miyu Watanabe and Rika Tatsumi of Daydream. This is obviously following the Miyu Yamashita and Miyu Watanabe match that's happening at Grand Princess tomorrow. So this should be excellent. Last year, it was 1 to 1,000,000 versus the Magical Sugar Rabbits, which was great. And I think Daydream's even better. So this should be a great main event. But Ryan, you missed my Billy Starks rundown. And me losing it when you popped up Snoop Dogg, but that's besides.
I didn't realize Snoop Dogg is my profile picture on this.
Yeah, thing. It's awesome, isn't it? It's from the Cody Rhodes theme song.
Yeah. Oh, I know where it's from. I worked on that show. Fun fact.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so Billy Starks is wrestling Mao on the day before, right? In the DDT title match. And she's facing Hyper Masao on this TJPW show. And then later that no, this isn't me saying it's good. It's me saying it's an interesting week. Then she's fighting Queen Aminata at night for the Ring of Honor title. So busy 2 days for her. I think that's all she's doing, which is obviously different from her usual thing, but she's signed now, so get over it.
I also think that this could be an interesting show. They had a really good show last year.
Yeah.
So I think it's totally plausible this is
Hold on. How did no one tell me about this Battleground Championship show?
I was gonna bring that up. They have some interesting matches on the show. Quite honestly,
I don't think any of them are gonna be good, but
sure,
they're insane.
Sure. Oh, when I look at WrestleMania weekend, I'm looking for good to great matches and things that are interesting that you can only see at WrestleMania weekend.
This is like ECW.
Well, there's also an ECW tribute show.
Shane Douglas.
Shane, you still wrestling?
Team 3D. Onita.
Are you watching? Are you looking at Battleground Champion? Oh, you're looking at Born to Die or a
Wrestling
tribute to the Extreme
2?
Oh yeah, that's an ECW tribute show.
This is insane. Rhino versus Masato Tanaka.
Yeah, that's actually that's the one I'm like, hold on.
And Tajiri versus Super Crazy.
Yeah.
The Shane Douglas thing's got me absolutely fucking. That's in Team 3D.
There's no way Shane Douglas can still go. The Battleground Championship Wrestling has a show earlier in the week or earlier in the day at 1 p.m. Triple threat that interests me.
This show actually looks decent. Okay.
PCO versus Jacob Fatu versus Matt Riddle. That interests me. Progress has a show at 3 o'clock. They have a Progress Atlas Championship match. Ricky Knight Jr. versus Yoshi. Yoshi Inamura, of course.
Oh, hey, Luke Jacobs. Hold the phone.
Yes, Luke Jacobs is working this week as well.
Why is he not booked more?
They announced him for a match. Oh, it's Defy. He's also working Defy. I just remembered. They're doing some sort of beef match in Defy, and Luke Jacobs is working it against Shaft. And
Shaft good.
He's pretty good. I think he's pretty good.
I didn't know Luke Jacobs was here.
Yes, he is. He is working this weekend. It is kind of frustrating. Again, when you see like all these different various people who are working various shows, and then you like, wait, they're only working one thing. Okay, yes. Oh yeah, here it is. Defy Wrestling, BMF Battle Royal. Shaft versus Luke Jacobs versus Gene Money versus Galeno Del Mal. Scotty's got nothing. No reaction from Scotty. I don't think he heard me. Moving on.
Sorry, I forgot Collision's on. Do you know who answered Adam Copeland's open challenge?
I saw Matt Cardona. I saw.
That's crazy. So going back to what you were talking about, that I'm intrigued by that match.
Galeno Del Mal versus Luke Jacobs in a ring. I'm in.
Yeah. I will watch that. I'll be there no matter what.
I should also say a bunch of these shows are either streaming somewhere or they're not streaming at all, or at least they haven't announced it. So that's frustrating. Wrestling Revolver and House of Glory have a show as well. Dream Match Alert: Mustafa Ali versus Amazing Red. That is the one I've been circled. I've had that circled for months since that was announced.
I will happily watch that. Amazing Red doesn't wrestle much, but when he does, it's usually pretty good.
Joey Janela Spring Break 8 is at 7 p.m. Gringo Loco is now wrestling Drolistico, not Volador Jr. They got
it for the Revolver show. That was good.
That's the only thing I saw. I mean, unless you see some stuff that
I believe you. No, I believe you.
I mean, they have Santana versus Alex Shelley.
No, I'm good, bro.
Yeah.
I forgot the Joey Janela show at the Dragon Gate match.
Yes, they have the Dragon Gate match. Yamato, Dragon Kid, KZ versus Shin Skywalker, Ben Kane, Kota Minoura. That should be pretty good. Great. I'm also intrigued by Nick Wayne, Jordan Oliver, and Mike Bailey versus Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, and Kerry Morton. At least I think that's interesting. And because I know they've been actively booking it and building it up, an I Quit match, Effie versus Mance Warner. I know it's a thing that's been built up in GCW lore. It's made it across my desk, so it's something.
Sir, Masha Slamovich is on the show.
All right, what is she doing?
Masato Tanaka and Minoru Suzuki versus Masha Slamovich and Rina Yamashita.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean, you told me to watch Masato Tanaka versus some bum, so I'll watch that.
For Josh Alexander.
That's not the one. I don't even think it probably wasn't a bum either, but I don't remember. Was it Rhino?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
I didn't say go to the way you watch it. You were the one that were freaking out over it, and I said that one's interesting.
I was freaking out over it because I had no idea it existed.
That's fair. 8 p.m. Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor.
That's a pretty good show.
Big time show, obviously. Ring of Honor World TV title match, Kyle Fletcher versus Lee Johnson. 6-woman tag team match, Azumi, Saya Kamatani, and Tam Nakano versus Maika, Mina Shirakawa, and Mei Sara.
That's going to be the best Stardom match of the week.
That's totally plausible.
Very much in the belief that. Though I do have to say something. I think it's very interesting who they picked. I think it's kind of a sign of who Stardom wants to push more than anything else.
I fully agree. And
Mayu's not in that.
Mm-hmm.
Shuri's not in that.
Mm-hmm.
Starlight Kid's not in that.
Yep.
Watanabe's not. That's a lot. Like I think it's a bad choice not putting Shuri on there because Shuri's the most known person besides Mayu.
I totally agree with you. I think this is also very apparent of people that they have locked into Stardom that are definitely not leaving. I think you can you look at like who's leaving, and then you know that like over the course of the next several months, up to a year, there's going to be people leaving left and right. Probably. I think these 6 people are all 100% locks into Stardom.
I also think it's kind of funny that everyone that I saw all of this hype about it, right? As it should be. It's going to be awesome. And the person that was least talked about, you're a World of Stardom champion, Micah. I was like, that's tough. But I think it's going to be great. I think it's obviously a very good match to book. I know people probably expect the Joshi fan in me to be like, oh my God, I can't believe it's on Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor has a great history with Joshi, better than most companies. And more specifically, as I said to you last week, or if I want anyone calling this match, it's Ian Riccaboni and Caprice.
Yes.
They call it the best.
Hey, how did Hana Kimura get so popular in the States?
Ring of Honor. Also,
Ring of Honor.
Ian Riccaboni did the first Hana show, so this is a person who is very knowledgeable. 3 really good women's matches on the show.
Yes, you also have Ring of Honor Women's World Television Title Tournament Final, Bayley Starks versus Queen Aminata, and the Ring of Honor Women's World Title match, Hikaru Shida versus Athena. Does Athena finally lose the title to Shida?
Maybe.
I think yes.
Probably. I mean, Athena should not be in Ring of Honor anymore.
And I think Shida could be a good enough swap for Athena.
Oh, for sure. I mean, she's won the world title in AEW so many times. And then, of course, your main event.
Ring of Honor World Title match, Eddie Kingston versus Mark Briscoe. Is Eddie losing all 3 titles? He's losing Continental to Okada. Is he going to lose Ring of Honor to Mark Briscoe finally? And then I guess New Japan Strong or something.
He sure is. He sure is. I think this is perfect, actually. I think Mark Briscoe should be the one carrying the Ring of Honor banner because he's the guy that will actually appear on Ring of Honor. You and me could say so many things about Ring of Honor, but I know when the pay-per-views come around, they're going to be great shows. I also expect Takeshita to be on the show because we know he's there.
Yep.
And he feels like the type of guy you throw on here. People may forget, a year ago, they were supposed to do Konosuke Takeshita and Will Ospreay on a Ring of Honor show. I think it was Supercard of Honor.
I don't remember that at all.
And Ospreay got hurt in the New Japan Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Takeshita just wrestled some random person. But I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be happening at this show last year. So it's kind of funny. A year later, it happened, and look how amazing it was. Because he wrestled.
Willie
he was
Mack.
on Supercard. Yeah, it was supposed to be him and Ospreay.
So, yes, I do remember that. It was a report.
So I think Takeshita definitely could be tossed onto this card in a cool match. because it's Ring of Honor cards usually have a lot more matches on them.
Yeah, last year had 12 matches to them. The year before that had also 12 matches in them.
I'm perfectly fine with them just announcing cool matches, by the way, for these shows.
Yeah.
I don't care.
They've only got 5 so far, so
and they're all very good.
Yeah, they're probably going to have certainly some more. And Ring of Honor has been really good in terms of
I also like Fletcher and Lee Johnson.
Big Shotty, me too.
I think it's a very good choice for what Ring of Honor should be, is highlighting the younger crew. So that should be fun. Good show.
Nothing else for me personally on Friday that catches my eye.
Let me double check.
I thought For the Culture was sort of a disappointing card, in my opinion.
West Coast Pro has a show in California that day. That's very funny.
Oh, okay. I'll watch that. I'll watch that at 8 p.m. Oh, no. Super Card of Honor is 8.
Yeah, no, I think you'll be covered, buddy. I don't think you need extra.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think that's it for me on Friday as well. Lots of shows, though.
Vinkin Bjorn brings up in the chat Johnny TV versus Dalton Castle.
Oh, yeah. I remember watching Johnny TV get dropped on his head.
Saturday, April 6th. There's a couple. There's not really. I only have 2 matches highlighted on Saturday. Do you got anything?
WrestleMania.
The main event, The Rock.
Saturday.
I got 2 matches highlighted. Suplex Mania, The Block Party, 11 a.m. Marcus Mathers versus Nick Wayne. I think that is a really nice, like, up-and-coming indie wrestling match there. But I also heard that this show is not streaming anywhere, so... and then Expect the Unexpected, Unlock the Unexpected, ETU versus Dragon Gate. It's a whole show where it's indie wrestlers and various tag matches, singles matches, whatnot, versus Dragon Gate guys. I actually really like this show. One match that I really wanted to see, made sure to go out of my way to watch, 4 p.m. Alec Price versus Shun Skywalker.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's very cool.
Marcus Mathers versus Dragon Kid. That's crazy.
That is also another one that interests me a lot.
This show airing, are we going to have independent wrestling TV? Because those are hard to find.
Yeah, we'll probably have. I
all right,
set up.
All right, cool. Because I definitely want to see a lot of those actually.
I think that's probably the best indie show on Saturday. I mean, like if you look at GCW, you have Effie's Big Gay Brunch 9, which doesn't look too exciting. GCW versus TJPW does not look too exciting to me. And then the clusterfuck at midnight.
Billy Starks and Janai Kai versus Miyu Watanabe and Rika Tatsumi is probably the match to see. Masha's also in the main event. If probably squaring off with Miyu Yamashita. So those are the only 2 matches from there I will probably check out. But this is WrestleMania day, so like with NXT and WrestleMania, it's like all right, and Sakura Genesis, it's like all right, I'm covered. That's enough.
Yeah.
I gotta watch all 3 of those before we record Sunday morning. So all the indie ones will be pushed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sunday, speaking of April 7th, there was nothing really too exciting to me. Spark Joshi does have a show as well.
And Nakano and Aja Kong.
Yeah, so they announced that
it is airing.
What's that?
It is airing. I did not know the show was airing.
Spark Joshi, they also have there's like a mini tournament during the day, and then it ends up being like a tag match with Mayu on one end with a TBD versus Konami on the other with a TBD. And then what was the Aja Kong? It was Aja Kong and Tam Nakano versus who?
Janai Kai and Mina Shirakawa.
Yeah, I looked at that card and I said, well, I know who's eating the fall in this one. Sorry, Janai Kai. Sorry, MLW Women's Champion Janai Kai. Hit the curb.
Yeah. It's if I thought Mayu was doing very little in the first match of her week, she's doing even less there. But it's pretty cool for anyone going, obviously, to see the Stardom Town. Aja Kong Tam is like a very like holy shit type of thing. It's like, huh? How did this happen? But yeah, it's whatever. You know what is happening this day? Not to go away from Japan, go away from Philadelphia, but I think this will interest you. DDT is back in Cork in that day already.
Okay.
And the main event is Yuki Ueno and Mao versus Chris Brooks and Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
That does interest me.
That is a good little toss in there because I forgot that he had shown up once for to like do that, and I was like, oh, that's already happening. Draggate supposedly has a show. I don't know how they're running a show that day, but they do have a show Japan.
They have, I don't know, 75% of the roster across the states.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Noah has a show. I don't think it's anything big, but
Is this show. I think the Noah show is the Jake Lee match.
No, that's tomorrow.
Well,
no idea.
That's our preview.
There you go. Congratulations.
Shows that I'm going to intend to watch all of. Defy Wrestling, Can't Deny It, Stardom American Dream, WrestleCon Mark Hitchcock Memorial Show, GCW Bloodsport X, Action Wrestling's Dean, JCW and GCW versus the World, Joey Janela Spring Break 8, and Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. That's pretty much all the shows that I intend to watch everything of, and then I'll sprinkle in indie matches throughout.
Sure.
What do you have on your list?
To watch completely?
Yeah.
Stardom, TJPW, Ring of Honor.
Yep. Yeah,
sorry, I wasn't looking at the thing. I'll watch most of Bloodsport, probably not all of it, but I'll watch majority of it. So
that's fair.
I'll watch a lot of the DDT show. I will watch a lot of the Spring Break show. I don't watch full shows. I watch most of shows. So like I don't really I can't really fit that in there, but I'll watch a lot of, and then anything from the action show you'll have me watch. So
I'll definitely recommend.
I will be like, hey, what the hell am I supposed to watch from the show that I have no idea what's going on? Some stuff looks good, and before we wrap this up, I think we did pretty good. 2.5 hours isn't bad. Before we wrap this up, I really hope someone breaks out. Like just someone, anyone that isn't a big talent, like they may have a big opportunity and they break out this weekend. I'd like to see maybe Alec Price gain some momentum. Maybe just someone I haven't talked about, but there's always
Marcus Mathers, I think, is potential that can break out maybe a little bit.
Yeah, there's opportunities there. It's just a matter of.
We talked about offline, where it's just like most of the matches that we talked about just now that I'm interested in, most of them involve non-North American wrestlers that I'm interested in. Most of them involve non-North American wrestlers. And then a portion of that involve wrestlers or matches that fully do not have any signed talent, like MLW or Impact or whatever, even if they're per day deals. I guess that's kind of different nowadays, but like there's like so many of these shows that don't have North American based truly independent wrestling matches that are of interest, and I need someone to break out and to hear about a match that's like, oh, I don't know who these guys are, I want to go check that out. That's what WrestleMania weekend has sort of been built on, and it doesn't really feel like there's a lot of that stuff. But maybe a lot of that stuff is going to be after the fact, and we'll watch it after the fact. But I agree with you. I would love for someone to break out here.
That's what we hope for. I just hope it's a great week of wrestling, which, we said like there's things lacking, but there's still a lot of victory matches, and I just hope a lot of them hit.
Me too. All right, that is it for this week's show. We appreciate everybody that went out of the way to watch it, watch Ring Post Radio live, and of course listen to the show after the fact on the archives. We'll be back next week on Sunday, where we'll be reviewing night 1 of WrestleMania, and then we'll be back immediately following night 2, talking about WrestleMania night 2 immediately after said event. So if you're watching WrestleMania night 1, you can hear our thoughts immediately the next morning on Ring Post Radio proper, 9 a.m. And then if you're watching WrestleMania Night 2, stick around to listen to us as we talk about it live on YouTube to hear our thoughts. Scotty, anything to plug? And actually, no, we'll start off first. What's your match of the week? I know you said you didn't watch much wrestling, but what have you seen that we didn't?
Yeah, I watched. It would either be the Dynamite main event, but I watched an old Asuka match.
Oh.
When she was obviously Kana in Japan, she wrestled against Arisa Nakajima. It was incredible. They had so many shoot headbutts. I almost threw up. But it was incredible. Cork was great. So that would be my match of the week from 2013 in JWP. So awesome match there. I did think Dynamite's main event was great though.
I was catching up on some of my wrestling viewing, and a match that I haven't seen yet this year, but I heard good things, was January 13th in Noah Star Navigation. It was Kano, his title defense versus Go Shiozaki. So I watched that to catch up. Very, very good match. I just don't remember anything from it, and it also didn't ultimately matter because Kano would not have a long title reign or anything. But I think it was sort of it's tough seeing Go Shiozaki because he's definitely not the kind of wrestler that he once was. Yeah. And he's sort of reaching that Naomichi Marufuji stage where it's just like, you can maybe step up in the big spots like here, but it's like he's given everything he's got in him, and there's not much left in him based off all these injuries and everything.
He's done very good. This is very random. He's done good since he's gone to the black trunks.
That's good. He's no longer I Am Noah.
No, he's just taking it back. He's done good. I mean, he's not in any big matches, but he's having his anniversary show in a month or two, so it'll be interesting to see what he does there.
I think he's got to change up his style because it's his body's worn down. So you got to simplify it. It sounds
he's just making it more based, hard hitting.
Good.
I think that's probably best for him. I think he's figured it out because obviously he's avoided injury for a while now. Knock on wood. So, fingers crossed. But all right, let's get the hell out of here.
That is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. I've been Ryan Knightsey. You can follow me on Twitter at Ryan Knightsey. You can follow Scotty at Scott E Wrestling. We appreciate everybody who follow along on the chat. I want to do a shout out Eternal Epure. Make very nice compliment. Dropping by to say amazing work as always, guys. Looking forward to listening to the show. We appreciate that. Was a very nice comment made. And we will see everybody. Follow the whole network at Countout Pod on Twitter. We have a bunch of great shows. Ichiban Sweetcast had a great episode that came out about sort of like, is there a need from a New Japan perspective about Forbidden Door? If there's still a need for them, Stardom Road put an episode sort of prep for WrestleMania weekend about Stardom in America. And yeah, we got a bunch of great stuff. And like I said earlier, patreon.com/Countout Pod. New episode of The Ballot also came out on Patreon, where I was joined by Gerard DiTrolio from Emerald Flow Show, talking about the Hall of Fame career, or the potential Hall of Fame career, I should say, of Kento Miyahara. So I
want to, before we wrap up, say thank you to 6-Star, Jeff Bugenhagen, Mr. Wrestling Podcast. Scrolling. One second.
He's scrolling. This is a good idea. I approve this bit. I approve this.
Far. This name that is, I believe, in Japanese that I obviously can't say. But thank you. I can't grab it in like.
There's Asian lettering. Unsure exactly which Asian lettering, but there's Asian lettering.
Vanken Bjorn. Thank you all for jumping in and loading up the comments. I usually don't look at I don't remember to look at the comments while I do the show because I'm just like hyper focused, but I appreciate all of you for leaving comments. I read them all, so don't you worry. And anytime you guys pop in, we appreciate it. We're gonna try to get better moving forward of obviously sharing the comments on screen too and whatnot. I'll start paying attention more for them to do that, but because Ryan's obviously leading and hosting, so I don't want to make him do everything.
Well, I'm curating the comments when I see stuff
Okay.
that's like relevant to sort of what we're talking about,
Yeah.
and not to say that the comments aren't relevant, but more of just like if there's answering a question or asking a question, I'll bring it up.
Sure.
But a lot of it was lively. There was interactions with each other. I love it. What's happening in the comment section, the chat during these streams. People were interacting with each other. That's what I'd like to see. Good stuff, everybody. So yeah, we'll be back next Sunday talking WrestleMania, talking matches, talking a bunch of wrestling. We are locked in for several weeks of so many big shows. So we'll talk all about it next week. Until then, goodbye, everybody.